Well, long time no see, my club friends. It has been, I believe, 2 years in Top Shot time since we last all convened together. So much has happened. Jack played Knockout. Mike has done a media tour that rivals, something a presidential candidate would do. Andy's been rescuing cats. I have no idea what Pete's been doing. I assume transferring all of his wealth to very talented digital artists. But we are back. The chat is lit. How are we doing, guys?
Happy to be back.
Yeah,
cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Back in the club.
Cheers,
what are we doing today, guys?
I started off light with a nice Modelo.
Ooh, that's
I have
the drink of the stream.
some nice KCBC, which is a local Brooklyn brewery. I'll be whipping out next, Big plans for the night.
It appears Jack is drinking vodka out of a water bottle.
I'm drinking water. I was down in Dallas this weekend. Took a few stumbles.
Yeah, what's the story with this?
Just some alcohol-infused stumbles. I got a nice runny nose. COVID is in question at the moment. And let's give a quick tour. I'm slumming it. My bed's on the ground. I'm a man of the people for this episode. I'm a man of the people.
Are you? It's man of the people. You're in New York now, right?
I moved in on Monday, and then I was out of town, and my bed frame is here, and it will come together at some point.
What were you doing at the card show? Were you networking, or were you actually trying to peddle that shit?
Oh, I sold so much cardboard wrapped in plastic for real money. It was incredible. It was incredible. I mean, you can imagine the people at a card show. It was truly spectacular. But yeah, I sold a lot of my stuff. I still have some of my good stuff, but my bet is that modern probably takes a hit thanks to Top Shot. So I kind of unloaded on some of the modern stuff I had.
Wow. There you go. And Mike.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, we get a decent amount of people watching this show, but it might not be up to kind of your elitist media standards.
Look, I was raised the right way. I know to never forget my humble beginnings. This is where it all started, my media tour, and I'll be back here and there to, offer the viewers something to see here. But otherwise, yeah, it's been quite a week, and it's clear that you guys have been holding me back this whole time. So,
Andy, is that cat over your head the cat that appeared in the Wall Street Journal, the famous Wall Street Journal cat?
Actually, sadly, it is not.
Oh,
this is the brother. This is Larry.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Lola who was in the Wall Street Journal.
So
Larry and I, everyone that's Larry.
Yeah, Larry and I have something in common in that we both didn't make the Wall Street Journal article about Top
He was
Shot.
equally upset, actually. He was trying to make a video, but he hasn't quite figured out all the clipping tools yet and everything on my computer. He's still working on it, but he has a video coming out too.
There you go, Pete. How we doing down there, man?
I'm great, bud. Really proud of what I'm drinking tonight. This is one of my new favorite sours. Legit, a rare barrel. Wait,
is that a wine?
No, this is a sour beer.
Pete even gets his
sophisticated. We're sophisticated, so we're in the VIP section, and I'm drinking a nice little sour beer. So.
Hold that up again.
Yeah, that's a.
See this, Pete. He only buys art on Super Rare. He only buys alcohol with a rare label. I mean, this guy.
Hence why I brought it up. We're looking for rare stuff.
Jack, come out to Brooklyn and I'll show you some good bottled sour beers.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I'll culture you.
I love sours.
Yeah.
There's no joke there. What are you drinking over there? Are you drinking water too? Because that's pretty embarrassing.
I was trying to disguise it a little bit. This is actually, this is a fun story. This is my Chris Anderson Birdman glass. I got this at an Arby's in Denver back in high school. They were doing a promotion. The Birdman, it is seltzer. Look, I had a come to Jesus moment on my trip in South Carolina. I've been drinking far too much. I didn't like how I looked, and I looked at the calendar and I said, it's almost summertime. I need to dial it in. I'm allowing myself one drink night a week. I didn't want to blow mine right out of the gate on the Monday night. So just bear with me as I'm working through some stuff, guys.
Well, we're at 60% capacity right now, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Pete, Andy?
Cheers, boys.
Yeah,
I mean, I've
cheers.
been trying to get back too, and I only, this show's turned me into an alcoholic. I mean, I was doing well, and then the club just got me going. I mean,
I thought I could sneak it through, and then it didn't. But Jack rarely drinks on this show either. No one gets mad at him.
That's not true.
Well, are we sure he's of age? This might be a legal thing. I don't really want to talk about how it's fuzzy for me.
I drank enough over the last 2 nights or 3 nights that it compensated for tonight's misdoing.
Now, Jack, it has been so long that we haven't even convened since the House of Highlights knockout game. I'm sure you've already talked about it on CNBC and other programs, but maybe for the people, what was that experience like?
The experience was incredible. I mean, it was super fun. Also, I see in the chat that everyone thinks I'm high. This is like the new thing is my eyes like don't open. And I was on an Instagram live last night. The whole crowd thought I was high. I get it. My eyes are red and everyone thinks I'm not high. I'm not as cool as the Bowl smokers out in Denver. But House of Highlights was pretty cool. I mean, it was really cool. I got to play a game of knockout and had a chance at winning 6 figures. Came up short. I was actually pretty excited about my performance. I don't know if you watched it back. I think you sent me a message that you did. I think Jenna Bandy shot like 19 of 21. She swept the field. She didn't lose a life. So I didn't feel too bad that I didn't win just because no one even knocked a life off of her. The one thing I was bummed about was I told you guys we were supposed to do the 3-pointer with 3 people left. And when Bleacher Report staffers like did a walkthrough, they got tired during the 3-pointer. So they decided that we would also get tired. And so they scratched the 3-pointer, which I think would have at least given me I said that. I mean, I said she was wet and it came true. So I was kind of bummed that we didn't get to do the 3s because that was the only way we could have knocked her out. Because she took 23 shots on 21 rounds in the night. But I liked my performance. I'm been waiting to hear how Jennings would have won the competition.
The people want it, Pete. What was your analysis from the competition?
free throws, I think I'm in a bit of trouble. 3-pointers. I mean, when are we going to do a little, club top shot? Maybe we can bet some expensive moments or something.
We did 10 minutes into the podcast with Pete trying to hustle us with a shooting bet.
Jennings, I said I thought the 2 of us could beat the 3 of them in a game of 2 on 3. I think we could, but I did see Overzet's performance, and I didn't expect that out of him. But now that he's telling us he's maybe not in shape, I don't know. We've discussed Mike and Andy's game, but it's tough to tell because we didn't even think any of us had legs until recently.
No angle here. I think Overzet's probably like a minus 125 favorite in a one-on-one game versus me. I've been playing a lot recently, but.
Mike, can we talk about the photo?
No comment over that. Dodge that one.
I like how he just skipped. But your game, would you say your game is one-on-one, like in a good way, Jennings? Like mine, I'm not a huge one-on-one player because I'm more of a passer.
It used to be pre-Achilles, that just zapped my athleticism. So, but I like one-on-one. I mean, I can score, but. Defensively, I'm a pretty big liability at this point.
Well, when we did that broathlon basketball one, you were still kind of coming off of your injury, and you didn't have a ton of like lateral movement. Are you back in that regard?
More so, much more so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also extremely overweight during that broathlon. We were drinking a bunch of beer, and
Yeah, but I mean, you strike me as the kind of guy that likes to, in the pickup games, conserve your energy on defense. So you got that those fresh legs for the stroke.
Dude, I shoot. I pick up. I try to guard the least athletic guy, and then I just shoot. I mean, that's all.
The James Harden of pickup games.
I did find someone. This is a true story. There's a guy at our gym who just joined our gym. We gamble on Bump Out every day. And this guy's like a VC. He actually founded this Denver Angel program. And he played with us last time. And he's like, I'm in. He bought his own ball. And tomorrow he's like, I want to gamble. So we got some fresh blood.
Wow.
I shouldn't be drinking right now, but.
Yeah, I was going to say. And you're out here drinking. Good for you.
There we go. So, Mike, I do have questions about this photo. It says it's from a basketball court in your building. Is it an entire wooden box?
It was a weird shot. We were taking photos for probably 90 minutes. The photographer is very friendly. Andy went before I did, so she visited Brooklyn before she came to the Upper West Side, and Andy was like, your mouth is going to hurt. You'll be smiling for a long time. And I warned Andy that it gets a lot worse on your wedding day. You'll see. That's 3 hours worth. But so there it is.
Wait, I did not realize that the Wall Street Journal actually went and took pictures and interviewed. I thought these were just pulled off some website or whatever, your social media, and that you just called in. They actually came and interviewed the whales of Top Shot.
This took
That's
me.
Incredible.
It took me an hour to pick my outfit for this. So please do not dismiss it outright.
Can we talk about how white they made us look in these photos?
Yeah.
Like, there's a level of flash that felt pretty unnecessary. I'm a pretty pale guy as is.
Yeah. I'm as white as they come,
flavor.
but this is an albino punk level white.
Pretty
Let's
rare.
get,
So setting downstairs. So the gym in my building is shared among 3 buildings. It's actually underneath the neighboring building, but it has nice amenities in it. So you actually have to go to the basement floor of my building, then walk underneath the street in a hallway, and then you get there. But it has a full court basketball court, and that is like a little bench alongside the basketball court. And it does look like a sauna in the picture. But it's by a basketball court, and that little latch-looking thing on the bench, there are additional basketballs stored there, actually. So that's a little bit of evidence it's by a basketball court, since I see your skepticism there.
I love it. I mean, I just hope someday that I can belong to a gym that has trap doors where they keep the basketballs. And let's go over here to Andy, because first of all, I had to take the screenshot from the Wall Street Journal mobile thing because I went to it on desktop. I needed to sign up for a subscription, and I was like, I like these guys, but I don't like them that much. And Andy, I've done some like zaprutering on this. I mean, he couldn't even clear off the iced coffee. I mean, like, what's going on?
Hold on. I have an issue with this. That is not my fault. I was told we were taking photos outside. And then when we got there, she was like, oh, let's take a couple of pictures at your computer. And I was like, oh, we're doing that? I didn't know. And so just had a bunch of shit everywhere because, I don't know, it's like the middle of the workday that they came to my apartment. And so I was like, should I move all this stuff? And she was like, no, it's fine. And I just assumed that we weren't going to actually use any of those photos. And then here we are. And
is it? And you got lint on your shirt, Andy? I mean, come on here, man.
Because I was outside in a coat all day taking photos.
Hey, can we zoom out? Because there is one really cool thing on his desk.
Yeah.
That a couple people have noticed on Twitter as well. He is showing off his Pokemon collection quite nicely.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was not intentional.
Some sharps saw that. I mean, you there you go.
Look, let's see. There it is. Yeah, bottom left corner here. This is like Where's Waldo with Andy's apartment here.
My personal favorite part is the little bit of hair on the forehead. I think that had to have been by design. There's no way the photographer didn't call for that.
Oh my goodness!
Au natural.
I love it. What has been the reaction from family and friends from this article? I assume you guys have had lots of conversations with people who weren't quite aware of what was going on here with you guys in Top Shot.
Yeah, I got a lot of messages from people saying, I've been in Top Shot for like 2 weeks, had no idea you were in Top Shot, let alone this whole situation. And then I did hear from a few former coworkers and some family members, but I would say it was fewer people than I would think. Either people don't read the Wall Street Journal as much as I expected, or people just kind of saw it and were like, okay, like this is weird. I'm not going to reach out to him about it. What the hell is going on here? Is this real?
Yeah, relatively the same for me. I had a few people, like a couple of friends from college, texted me and was like, "Whoa, saw that article? That's insane."
Mm-hmm.
A couple like super random people who I am surprised like remembered who I was, who were like, "Whoa, that's crazy." A couple people who were like, "Why are you not selling all of this right now? It doesn't make any sense." And I was like, "I don't know what to tell you." But yeah, not as much as I expected, honestly.
Shout out. I don't think StreamYard lets me pull it up because it's just showing the actual thing, but we do have the Andy cat emoji in the chat for the YouTube VIP members. So let the cats rip there. An iconic photo.
Chris Conley, by the way, whose comment you just pulled up?
It's not. It's another Chris Conley who's been very excited to be accidentally identified as the other Chris Conley. Jack, I mean, are you a little jealous now? You're in the big city. I mean, you have to settle for, paywalled athletic photos. The Wall Street Journal didn't come knocking.
Your video was so fucking funny today. And then the part that cracked me up for myself was like when you pointed out how big the picture they used of me, like it was trying to cover the entire article. Was there a mention? I was so spiteful that I didn't even read the Wall Street Journal article. I even commented that Jennings and I were extremely poor people now in this Top Shot world, which is sad, but it is what it is.
Can we I just want so you guys can see the flow of how this picture shows up in this article. So you got
bizarre
title, image. We're doing great here. Yeah, we're going a little link out. Okay, boom. We hit the photo here. I got to keep scrolling just to see anything. Just all this wasted black space. And then this thing is massive. To do a screenshot for the video, I had to zoom out 9 times. This is just journalistic malfeasance here by The Athletic. What is going on with this photo? All right, I guess I'm the only one who looked up about it.
So over when you spoke to Mr. Ethan Strauss, how did that conversation go? It seems like you went an hour and there wasn't that much for him to pull from.
First of all, he's already reached out. He said, I will make the next article. I think I've succeeded in shaming a few people. The Bitbird community, very upset, saying I don't know what the hell those are. Someone sent me a Bitbird. And Ethan Strauss says he's going to make sure he gets me in the next Top Shot article, but he needed a tighter focus on it. But yeah, Mike, I thought I had some really quotable lines. When those guys call me, I'm thinking in sound bites, trying to say something spicy, something clever, something witty, but just didn't have the gravitas of one Mr. Jack Settlement, apparently.
I feel like Jennings got left out of a few things, so he just unfollowed me on Twitter.
Ooh.
In an extremely spiteful move.
Yeah, that actually is bizarre. I don't know what happened there, but I've noticed that a little bit recently, just in general.
Well, you saw the thing with Memphis. If you tweeted the word Memphis, you got kicked off Twitter temporarily. They have some funky things going on.
Yeah, but I've noticed it's actually reached out to one guy who's a good buddy of mine who we've been following each other forever, and he randomly wasn't following me. I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So I just went to DM him, and he said the same thing. And now, I would remember unfollowing. I feel like so. No reason to do so.
Yeah, it was that or the knockout performance. You were so ashamed of my performance but we're back now.
It's really I'm just trying to create a little rivalry here so we can do our own.
We can gamble.
Yeah. Well, Pete, you're normally pretty generous with your follows and your follow backs, but my theory is that for every new digital artist that you follow, you're just kind of culling from your group of friends, and one of us has to hit the bricks each time you find someone else to give all your ETH to.
I've been donating some ETH in a lot of different ways lately, but Twitter's an interesting place right now, and I have noticed it is interesting. You start spending some money on some of this stuff and investing in different projects. And I've gotten so many DMs. I'm curious after the Wall Street Journal article if you guys have the same thing. or any of you guys, even you, Overzet, you can comment on this.
Even me. Wow, you deigned to wonder what my DMs look like.
Just play the game with you a little bit.
You're saying to pump projects?
Oh, not even pump, but just like, hey, dude, buy this. My favorite is like, hey, I need support. Please buy this. I've had like a couple of messages like that, and it's like, it's not really how this works, and that's probably not the best tactic. But I guess we're reaching that stage right now, which is, I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited, optimistic. There's a lot of really cool stuff, but I've started to notice kind of that wave we've been talking about, that there's some people that are just trying to money grab at this point. So I don't know. Where do you guys think we are in that process?
Pranksy Jennings in the comments section. I've gotten some pump, not really pump, more so, like, hey, buy this, or hey, will you retweet this? I think it's as simple as like, if I like it, I'll do it. Like if I would actually buy it. And I think bringing it to my attention is cool because there is so much shit going on. But if it's just like, hey, will you retweet this? Not really my thing.
That's my pet peeve. Like, if there's people that interact with me regularly and I recognize them, like, I will always give you the time of day. It's the people I've never seen them in my life. They're like, yo, retweet this, or, buy, someone was wanting me to buy some random crypto 8-bit piece of art, which it seems like I'm now seeing there's diaper dogs. I mean, what is going on, guys?
Yeah, I need to hear. I actually missed the whole Mooncat day.
Oh man, what a day!
Yeah. Andy's Twitter has become like my favorite account, personally. Just incredible stuff. Can you explain everything that kind of went down there?
All right, so essentially, people are idiots, and sometime on Saturday, I want to say, I was just trolling around Twitter, and this was like the early, or I don't know, before noon, and I saw this thing, Mooncats, and I go to the website, and it's ancient. The Twitter account hasn't tweeted since 2017, and you could rescue Mooncats, but you had to like go to the like actual Ethereum contract and interact with it because the website was broken and all this, and people just started rescuing the Mooncats, and there were like 26,000 of them that needed to be rescued, and people spent like around $800,000 in fees, like just in like the gas fees to send the transactions to rescue all these Mooncats. And oh yeah, shout out Robert, good job. That's a cute one. And I wish I'd rescued more cats.
How many did you get?
I have 12 Mooncats. And I'm literally like sitting here while Allie is working, and I'm like, Allie, I can't stop rescuing cats. Look how cute this one is. And she's like, what is wrong with you? Stop spending your money on this. And I mean, in hindsight, pretty smart. What can I say?
Why? Did they pump pretty hard in price?
Yeah, now they're trading for around like 1 Ethereum a piece.
And what did it cost you to get the 12?
Like $40 each or so, maybe $500.
Gas, right?
Yeah, just the gas fees. They were free. It was just the transaction costs.
Mike and Pete, did you guys get one?
I openly passed on this. I saw it. I was like, this is too much. I was like, I've done some things before in crypto land, but I was like, this like Mooncat thing apparently from 2017. The website looks like it's from 1986. I was like, this is too much.
You ran it by the family estate, and they said this is a nah wave for us.
Yeah, this is no go.
Pete, do you have Mooncats?
I don't have Mooncats, and the FOMO is just it's high, and that's
It's astronomical. Yeah.
Yeah, you just keep. I mean, there's all these things that you just you miss out. You have FOMO. You don't do something that doesn't do well, then you feel. I mean, I don't know. The whole thing is just so ridiculous. But
what's the process of rescuing a Mooncat?
So, Peter, can you go to the Find Cats page? All right, so click on Scan for Cats. So you would go to this page and you would scan for a cat on the moon, and then once it finds a cat, which you should find one soon. So there you go. Yeah. So you found a cat. So at this point, you can't rescue any more cats because they've already hit the maximum. But you would copy. There was like something underneath where it said ID, and you would copy that, and then you would go and paste that in the Etherscan address, and you would send a transaction to rescue that Mooncat, and then you would have it in your wallet. And so I legitimately probably spent like 2 hours on Saturday just pressing scan for another cat till I found one I thought was cute. And then I would claim it.
Talk to me how we're in beta every minute, but this didn't crash like Mooncats.
Yeah, I'm totally insane. Like the website was totally fine. I mean, actually, well, I should say the website didn't work. So
Totally
so it's
fine.
just the
totally
idea.
fine, but it didn't work. Well, so you could scan for cats, but like the functionality to actually rescue them did not work.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the not fun question because I don't like it when people ask me to untangle reality from bits. But like, I have seen people. I've seen the like. This is the second project. This was the third project. Like, untangle for me, like this just being like this fun thing to be a part of, in this actually having some long-term value relative to some of the other early NFT projects.
Yeah, sure. So I think there's one thing here that is very interesting, and I saw someone call it this. I don't remember who, but they basically called it the first Ethereum archaeological dig. And so the idea is that it's the first time. And so actually the worst thing that could happen for this was the devs came out and tweeted the other day, like, hey, we're trying to fix the website or something. And so like I think the best case scenario was you never hear from the devs again, the website never works, and it's just this totally obscure community like project from 4 years ago that the community found and revived. And so everyone was joking that it was like bearish that the devs were still alive. But so I think that's like the one case for it. End of the day, I'd say there's probably an 85-90% chance that in a year, literally no one cares about Mooncats. But they have an extremely active Discord right now with a lot of people who are building interesting things and who like legitimately are having a lot of fun, and a lot of people are having a lot of fun with it. And so I think there's like this weird line of, as it was kind of happening, it was just a bunch of people who have a lot of Ethereum and were bored on a Saturday and decided to rescue Mooncats. But it does have a bit of an interesting story of a bunch of random people on the internet sent 26,000 transactions to the Ethereum network just for fun to rescue this old project.
My unbiased take of not having FOMO but being realistic about, I think the narrative of how that happened with you guys, everyone just doing it and them being free minus the gas, like that is so cool. Like I really wish I was a part of it. Like just aesthetically, like they don't capture my imagination like the CryptoPunks do. Like the more you look at CryptoPunks, they're like so interesting. To me, a lot of these look similar. Are people actually getting into like the traits or like what separates these Mooncats from each other?
Andy's definitely gonna say like he thinks they're cute, which is, I guess, it's beauty is
I mean, I do.
the beholder. Yeah.
But from what I can tell, some people ran some like preliminary numbers on rarity and all that stuff, and it seems like there is essentially no significantly rarer things than other ones. So the ways that people have been kind of just like decided what was rare is that people like the black and the white ones. I think that there were also ones that were claimed back in 2017 before the project kind of died. And so those ones are considered really valuable because they're like the OG Mooncats, that they weren't rescued in 2021, they were rescued in 2017.
What's the deal with the names?
So you can name them. Once you name a cat, it can...
Yeah, Elon's a great name. Elon Meowsk. Fantastic.
But yeah, you can name the cats for free. It's not like the name change token thing from Hashmask. It's just a transaction to update the name. Once you set it, it's set forever.
Gotcha.
And didn't one of these that was breathing fire sell for a lot, or was that a different cat?
That's CryptoCats.
Oh God! All right.
Which,
aren't you paying attention? Obviously, that was CryptoCats.
Yeah, come on. This is Mooncats.
All right.
That was CryptoCats.
No, honestly, I'm salty about both of these. So,
Sam.
CryptoCats, I saw was like the right people on Twitter were talking about it, and I literally got out of bed. I had gotten into bed early. I was like tired. I was like, enough of this crypto stuff. I need an early night. I crawled out of bed to go look at the CryptoCats site, and I saw that it cost 0.8 Ethereum to grab one, and I was like, that seems like too much for just hype. And now I don't know what the floor is on these things. Andy, what's the floor on CryptoCats these days? You know?
I don't know off the top of my head. All I know is when I looked the next day, I was in the exact same situation. Like I wasn't in bed, I was playing video games. But I saw it and I like unlocked my ledger and I go to the site and I look and I'm like 0.8 Ethereum.
Yeah.
I don't know. That feels like a lot for this random project that like 5 guys tweeted about. And then the next morning, the floor was like 24 or 25 Ethereum for one.
What?
Yeah, well, there's only
floor?
there's only like 600 of them or so. And people were just going crazy. One of them sold for
200.
Yeah, 200 Ethereum, I think.
That was the fire breathing one. Yeah.
Can I just
And then
say,
there's CryptoKitties selling for 6 figures too.
yeah.
I mean, these cats across the board. I mean, how do you decipher which cat project to invest in? And are we reaching the point in the sim here, fellas, that we might want to take a step back and really think about what we're investing in, or is it still ape season?
Too soon.
Is it just still ape season? Like you see something, there's only 900. You go. You just like what's our process right now?
I've been like a bit particular, so I won't say
how many Mooncats did you
well, so that's part of it.
cheap,
It's basically like one, if it's essentially just paying for the transaction cost, and it seems like people care about it. If some people outside of like my circle I see tweeting about it, talking about it, then I'll get a couple just for fun. And like I took out a couple Mooncats because I was like, oh, people are gonna want these. And then I was like, all right, I should really stop claiming these Mooncats. And I just was having too much fun. I was sitting here claiming them, and I was like, I have to stop claiming Mooncats, but I can't do it. And so, like, to me, that's a good sign. But otherwise, in general, for the most part, staying, especially like it's just everyone and like their grandma is making some 8-bit art generative collectible thing. And that to me just feels like the lazy thing to do now. And so I'm, for the most part, staying away from them outside of a couple specific projects, just because I think they're interesting art, or I would be totally okay with buying one and then no one ever being interested in buying it from me. But I'm definitely not actively like aping into every collectible that pops up these days.
you guys want to know what cat project isn't pumping? These guys. When are the NFT guys going to come into the cool cat? Because someone bought the top on the second round of them to get the Anthony Davis, and that's not looking too good. My goodness.
Jack, I have a few physical card show questions for you.
Okay.
You said you sold cards there. My honest question is, how do you know how to price these things? I'm like so used to this Top Shot world where I can just see an entire transaction history, see the entire market. How the hell does physical card world work? I have no idea.
Yeah, so comps on physical are on eBay. So you kind of just base it off the last 3 or 5 sales. So you can search the card, sort by most recent sales. That's kind of how you price them out. But what's interesting is like there's cards that, you know, won't sell for 3 weeks or 3 months because they're more rare, they're more specific. So for that reason, like some of the stuff's very tough to price out. And then you don't have to pay, right? Everything's in cash. So you don't pay eBay fees on my end. They don't pay taxes. So there's negotiation there. It was pretty interesting to see. I would say generally 70 to 80% of eBay comps in cash was like the takeaway. So if I saw a card I had one that cost $1,000, I would get 800 cash for it, 700 cash for it, depending bulk, stuff like that. But I made out pretty well. And I got rid of a lot of stuff that I kind of wanted to dump.
Interesting. And is there one sport that people prefer? Like, is it like because we're in basketball season? Is that bigger?
Basketball is the hot market. Quarterbacks are the only thing that sells in football, which is actually could be a fun conversation we could have, especially with free agency going on. I know, obviously, Jennings and Overzet are big football guys too. Soccer was probably the third sport there that I was selling. Pokemon which I was told it's Pokemon. Was doing pretty well, but then like you can find signed tickets or game tickets, jersey, like they have everything. It's just all physical collectibles. Quite vile, but yeah.
Sounds disgusting.
And I feel like I didn't quite get my answer before. So you went to the card show to actually just have a place to sell these because it's such a disaster trying to sell them online?
Correct. It's the most liquid place you could have for sports cards. So, for example, I had 100 soccer cards all in PSA slabs, and to take a picture, list on eBay, wait 3 days, pack them up, do all that, get paid, and then cut off the fee, do all that. I mean, think about how long that would take me. And then one guy bought all 100 soccer cards from me in cash. So, Jonathan, yes, I did admit tax evasion.
Did you get, was it like an influencer premium where he's like, I want some of these Jack Settleman cards, or did he not know you?
I don't have the weight of a Josh Hart or anything like that, unfortunately.
I did just see Josh Hart tweeting tonight that he's interested in exchanging game-worn jerseys, signatures, and stuff for Top Shot moments. I'd trade you. I bet the chat would let me trade you one of my Van Vliets for a game-worn House of Highlights knockout shirt worn by Jack.
Wow.
Oh, I do have 2 of them. I would consider it. The funniest, what's funny about Hart's tweet is like, do you think he'll be offended if like no one, someone's offering like a Series 2 35K mint for it? Like how do you price that stuff? Signed jerseys are so cheap nowadays, like in comparison to all this other collectible stuff. Like you can get signed jerseys or signed balls from a bunch of people.
Yeah, I have no idea how to
I
price
just
it.
noticed Jeremy in the replies pumping his bags.
That's
Plunge
Jeremy
Father's
pumping
reply
our
to that was
bags.
very
Jeez.
funny.
That's awesome.
Wow. Oh, Plunge Father. There you go.
Yeah, I like that reply.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say, yeah, man. Have we had any, while I was gone, have we had any new NBA players getting into the mix, or we still just got our crew? I know Terrence Ross, man. He's out there. He's out there every day.
Gobert, technically, I think you were gone for that. It was over All-Star weekend. He was announced as like a top shotter. Van Vliet, you saw he's on the site verified now, right?
Yeah, I need to get in contact with
Diplo.
with my guy.
Diplo's on
that.
it.
Yeah.
And then our guy, I'm
Harrison
blanking on
Barnes
his.
has been active.
Oh, Barnes buying.
He's
8.
by far
Yeah,
the biggest.
yeah. Barnes is ape season
And
for
then,
Barnes.
Did you see the reporter? I forget his name. Who was asking all the All-Stars about Top Shot? That was amazing.
Yeah, that was great.
Fucking LeBron lying out of his ass saying he's never heard of Top Shot, and we know he's stacking moments.
We know he's just looking for pennies in the couch cushion.
He's saving
Jack's moment.
Exactly.
He's trying to sell Blaze Pizza shares to get enough liquid capital to buy it.
Is that why that made you salty, Jack? Because it was a setback in your master marketing plan?
No, I actually thought it was what would the opposite of a setback be? A step forward. Because he's lying. He's lying. Like if he's never heard of it, well, now he has. So that statement is untrue. And how can he act like he's invested in Liverpool, Blaze? He's this mogul businessman, and he hasn't heard of Top Shot? He's a liar. He's in the next Dapper round right now. He's a liar.
Well, your cause is going to be a couple steps back when I clip the Jack Settleman calls LeBron a liar. I don't know how that's going to help your cause.
Yeah, no, it is what it is.
According to Jack, he's probably already watching this live stream right now.
Oh, he is.
Viewers.
They don't have a game tonight.
we got to get Harrison Barnes in the club, right, Andy?
Actually,
Yeah, we owe him an invite. He wanted to over All-Star weekend stuff, but we were just enjoying our time off. Someone down in South Carolina.
I just realized I might have fucked up. You see who the Lakers play tonight?
The Knicks?
The Warriors.
Knicks and Nets are going right now.
Damian, my guy, I should have hit him up and just plugged away. Be like, jersey swap. Yo, if you want to buy Top Shot. We're close with a bunch of the Warriors guys. Pascal's on it. Toscano Anderson was DMing me. He was like, I want to have a moment where like he has a play with Steph Curry. I'm like, that's not really like I can't get that on the site. He was like, I have an idea. And I was like, oh, what's up? And he's like, yeah, I want to get this moment on the site. I was like, I can't do that, but you are in the NBA. If you DM them, maybe.
Pete, who's more entrenched with the Warriors, Phil Hellmuth or Jack Settleman?
Gotta be Jack. Gotta be Jack. Man, Hellmuth has been on a little bit of a tear, and what we really need is those Warriors guys. I mean, Chamath has been talking a bunch about NFTs on the most recent All In podcast. They talked about Beeple's sale, rumors of Chamath aping into some punks. We need them to start pumping some Top Shot too, right? Like, I mean, they have some real influence. Warriors owners, like that would be nice to get Chamath pumping some Top Shot, huh? Maybe we should invite Chamath to the club.
Oh,
There you
that'd
go.
be fun.
We're speaking of Beeple, were any of you crypto rich guys in the mix there for the auction?
They do not accept
the
LeBron
office over
James
there.
money.
What'd you say?
I said the only person who could possibly be in that is Mr. Family Office over there. I mean,
we have Beeple exposure already.
Can we talk about that sale? Like, do you guys think it was a good value buy, or it was like that's a price tag? That is a price tag.
I mean, it's a good question. Depends what you're trying to get out of it. I think it's going to be hard to imagine a 10x from there. Or it's got to sell for
But even
$1 billion.
Yeah, but I don't think
just relative to the alternatives in this space right now. If you kind of put enough capital out there, you sort of make your own destiny. Where you suddenly become a huge art buyer, and then you drop $20 million on new and upcoming artists. That's going to be a 10x for you. So if he's in it from the financial standpoint, it probably wasn't optimal. But in terms of making headlines, and I think it's the same guy who does the B20 token, or the same group. So they're kind of building up their reputation and carving out their spot in crypto land. So purely financially, it's probably not optimal, but in terms of continuing to build your reputation and being that guy who's buying a $69 million piece of Beeple work.
Did you guys listen? I listened to one of the first interviews he did. It was on Clubhouse. Thankfully, they uploaded it to YouTube so men of the Beeple could listen to it. Fascinating interview. Did you guys listen to Metakoven talk about it?
I didn't have a chance to.
Pete, did you? You're muted.
Yes, I did. I thought it was fascinating, and I mean, I don't know if it's a good value, and I don't even know if it's like about that necessarily. It's just it's more about just the direction that all this stuff is going, and I do think there's some really cool stuff happening. Obviously, people saw what Gronk did, and we're seeing all these splashy sales. A couple alien punks sold. I think we're later on in terms of like this wave of prices, but we're so early. We're in the early innings, as you mentioned in your video. Or was it, what would you say in the locker room, smacking each other's asses? That was a good line.
No, I mean, Michael, I think, had the first early innings analogy. That was her, dare I say, opening pitch to Mike to start that interview. And there were no pleasantries, Mike. I mean, she just went right to the meat of it.
Okay, so I'll share some facts about that. So first, it was over Zoom, obviously. What I'm looking at on my side is a full screen of my face. I can't see them, and I can't see the graphics that they're putting up. So that is a very sort of challenging interview setting. So I don't really know what they're looking at, if they're looking like if they're smiling and laughing, if they're angry. I don't know what the prior segment was. I don't know what's going on. And they just launch right into like question 6 as question 1. And so I'm like, I was like really ready for the question. So how did you get into Top Shot? And I was not ready for what should be the 8th question of the interview of, do you think we're deep into the NFT space right now? What inning do you think we're in? Okay, we'll start there.
Yeah, she comes out hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just to finalize that thought, though, I do think we're seeing later prices, but we're going to see a lot of just mainstream adoption in some good ways. We were in a chat earlier talking about how, everyone loves to brag about the concerts they've been to or sporting events. Like, it seems very obvious tickets will be NFTs, and even the avid like traveler, maybe somehow like plane tickets or where you stayed in like hotel rooms or Airbnbs or whatever become NFTs, and those probably won't be worth much. And there's probably going to be a lot of examples of NFTs that aren't necessarily like worth huge money, but will just bring in widespread adoption, which we've seen. I mean, I think NFTs have done way better than any other form of crypto to bring like the mainstream kind of people involved. But man, some of these prices right now, some of them are going to be really good buys, but we're definitely going to look back like a couple years from now and be like, that was dumb. Like, there's going to be a lot of Monday morning quarterback. And my sense, and I'd love to hear, I think this is a good conversation, is that we might be entering that phase with certain assets right now. But there's still some slam dunk values out there if you can be smart. But to kind of Levy's point is like, can some of this stuff sell for like 10, 100x now when they're selling for $7 million or $69 million? I mean, I'm obviously bullish on Punk still, but kick it around the room. What do you guys think?
Yeah, did anyone else read the Perugia or whatever the anonymous guy on Punk's Twitter thread was about buying his $7.5 million alien?
Mm-mm.
He's going ham on the threads these days. He is addicted to threads.
I'm not convinced that he didn't like queue up 40 or 50 threads and he was like, all right, once I get to 50 threads, then I can drop this $7.5 million on an alien. That's when I've earned it.
Andy, my friend has a thesis that he bought it from himself because also in that clubhouse, you can listen to it. The seller of the alien gave like a big monologue.
He wrote
in a very similar fashion to these threads. And that's something that people are talking about is that, obviously that's very easy to do with punks is to, basically, make the sale yourself. You're just paying some gas fees. So have you looked into that at all, Andy?
Yeah, I don't think he did. I know for a fact one of the 3 punk sales that happened, I know for 100% certainty that one of the 3 alien punks that sold did move hands. I know with 99% certainty where one of the other ones went. I'm not going to say any names. And then
just dox him, bro. Do it. Breaking news on Club Top Shot.
The last one, which is the one that I'm talking about, the hat and the pipe. I would be surprised if Dylan did that. It just doesn't seem like he has a lot of money. He doesn't need to have an anonymous punk ownership account. It was already public who owned it. And so like to me the draw of that would just be to to like pump your own bags kind of. But literally like a few minutes before or like 2 hours before he made that purchase, another punk was sold.
Right. And to be fair too, I don't think it is either. I just have heard that rumor. And also the one, I think the in that speech on Clubhouse, they're talking about like basically it wasn't about the money, just the recognition that this punk should be, getting respect and punk should be getting respect, and that these big splashy sales bring attention to projects that deserve it. So it was interesting. I think it's legit, but that's another dynamic.
So I have 2 interesting ones. First, do we know where the name Perugia comes from? Everyone, does everyone know the story there?
The thief who stole the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, which I think is a fantastic name. It's the name of a thief who stole the Mona Lisa in like the early 1900s or something. But I thought the most interesting thing that Metakoven said about his Beeple purchase was that there's no way to replicate what Beeple did without committing 13 or 14 years or whatever it was to your craft, where he literally made a different piece every single day. And no matter how much money is pumped in, no matter how many people start doing this, he's the only one who's done that to this point, where he was ready for kind of this moment and this boom with 13 or 14 years of track record. And there's an interview with him from like 2017 or 2018 where he's been making art every day for 10 years at that point and has no real way to sell it. Before NFTs came out, and he was still doing it every day, even though there was no clear path to monetizing it. And you can't really replicate that story. And this is the one piece that captures all of those 5,000 days of commitment, and you can't replicate that. And so it's a pretty interesting story. It's a dedication that's you can't really see, and even if other pieces are more beautiful or more interesting or whatever else, you can't replicate the time commitment.
I did when I read up about that piece in his everydays, because I didn't really know about him until the past couple weeks. And I thought the narrative behind that piece is so cool too, because when you look at so many artists, normally they have a body of work, and you're saying, I want to, show my respect or how I value this through this one specific work. But to get to purchase something that encompasses like his entire career, almost literally, I think is like a really cool thing. And the way he talked about it too on that episode about how he was completely okay and excited about transferring his wealth to Beeple with the thought of like, I'm excited to see what he's going to do with this. The kind of resources, the teams, who knows what he's going to do, but knowing Beeple, who seems like a pretty salt of the earth guy, suburban guy living in South Carolina, I should have drove by. He still has like, I read he has like a jerry rig setup because his computer overheats so much when he's working on these projects. So maybe he'll upgrade his studio. But to circle back to Pete's thing, I think the thing that's hard for me with a lot of these stuff outside of the FOMO and the fun is like, obviously the projects that are going to last are going to have really good communities and people that care about them. There's so many new communities popping up right now that really unless you're uber rich, the only way to be involved in them is to have a shit ton of capital. Or you're having to flip and move out of other projects to then ape into new ones. So to me, there's kind of this clash of how do you become a part of a community and you hold strong and you hodl and you never sell, but then there's all these other cool projects giving up maybe a piece of that unless you're rich. But I feel like there's this battle going on there, and obviously we can't all be entrenched in 100 different communities.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's something that I had a hard time with back, and this was like even not NFT stuff, but just like with trading cryptocurrency and stuff in general, which I'm terrible at, would not recommend to a friend. A lot of times I think it can be, yeah, Pete's been having some internet issues as well, so he might be in and out. I think a lot of times it can be really tempting to like see what people are tweeting and being like, oh my God, I got in on this early and it's so cool. And I got in on this early and that's so cool. And I made $20,000 and I made $40,000 and I made $10,000. I think it's important to remember. And like, I know some of these, like, especially some of like the Twitter influencer style people, a lot of them are lying. Like a lot of it's just not true. And I think a lot of people will like put on airs about how involved they are in like 47 different NFT projects and all these different DeFi protocols and stuff. And I think it's really important to remember that like no one ever talks about the stuff they missed really because it doesn't really help them to talk about it. And I've had just, as I've like kind of spent more and more time in the space, I've just been more and more focused on having very strong investment thesis on things that I want to buy and just buying those things and holding them and just like sticking with that. And then, you know, I have some money that I do fun stuff with because it's fun to buy into random projects and try to flip them and stuff. But like, I feel better just buying a couple NFT projects that I feel really confident in and holding it than I do jumping between different things. Like I didn't buy any Cryptocats. I have some Mooncats. I probably won't sell them for a while, but I'm just going to sit on them. I don't have time to like try to play the Mooncat game and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's tough too because I remember bringing up back when you guys were hearing about CryptoPunks, about how a lot of this stuff is at an acceptable price point for a lot of people, and so now you're seeing a lot of the knockoffs, you know, so to speak. People are having fun with the Bitbirds that I just learned about, all these other things, but it's also like I'm torn because it's fun for these communities to pop up. But on the other hand, damn it, I think I just went robot again.
I can hear you okay right now. You were for a second.
Sorry. Yeah, I've been having issues with my internet. My bad, guys. Hopefully I get a little notification when the internet's being bad. Well, the point I was trying to make, I assume I'm unroboted now, is that I think it's hard for now we have these new projects which offer a lower price point for people to get into, but it's also like, are the long-term fundamentals going to be there? Are the long-term communities going to be there? So it's giving them an on-ramp, but is it actually a trap? But on the one hand, if they're having fun, then like, who am I to say like, don't ape in?
Yeah, it's
not unlike the normal art market though. If you want the household names, you have to have deep pockets. If you want to take a chance on a young up-and-coming artist or someone who hasn't had success yet, you have a cheaper entry point. But a lot of more mature markets effectively work like this. The surer things or the higher floors, we'll say, do have a higher entry. And, if you want to take a chance on a rookie or an up and comer or someone with a different style or a new approach or something controversial, you can do that on a cheaper entry point, and it's the higher variance play. And I think that, we're still early in the NFT world, but it's starting to take that sort of form where the names that we all know in the art world are already pricing in the tens of thousands to six figures. And the ones who we haven't heard of, you can get for a few $100, and maybe those will eventually price up. And apparently, my brother-in-law is on. So, hello, first time in the club.
Yeah, and I'd love to get everyone else's perspective too. Like, I feel like we're so early. There's going to be a ton of really good stuff. I'm still really bullish on a variety of projects, but some of these figures, like Gronkowski's stuff, sold for a bunch of money. Like, obviously, everyone sees what happening with Beeple. I love my man MBSJQ. Like, his stuff just keeps going up in price, which I'm thrilled for, and I think it's great across the board. But even some of the and a lot of these Top Shot moments are doing really well. I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect between like where we are in terms of like the industry and how it evolves and everything else, and the prices. Very similar to crypto in 2017. There's all these ICOs, and there were a variety of projects that are really awesome, but there's a bunch of crap too. But the prices were all sky high. So I guess I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but I'm also, especially on some of these projects that don't have the backstory or I think you really need to be doing your diligence versus just like leaping into some of these newer projects. I guess my thought, but I'd love
I mean, one of the biggest reasons I'm not even in Hash Mask first, which is like, I really do like the art. I really like the name change token, but outside of that, it's kind of just the narrative that's drawing people toward, right? Like, what are the fundamentals behind it? So I got to find one that I really like, and I would be buying it as art, and I have to know that it could go to zero. Obviously, the CryptoPunk, I was fine aping into that because it was first, so at least there was something, right, to hold on to for that. So that I'm besides those two projects, I'm in Twerky Pepe. It's a frog twerking. I bought that as a joke, which is expensive joke. And then I bought some Shawn Mendes genies. I think Shawn Mendes is a great artist, but I really love genies. So that was just kind of my entry into genies. But yeah, you need to actually think about what you're doing, not strictly FOMO. It can't be, I know we talked about, of course, it helps if a lot of people are buying it outside of your circle. But at the end of the day, look back and have some logic to like why you actually, were buying that thing.
Pete, can you talk a little bit, because you have bought a couple of pieces from MBS JQ, and I'm not asking you to pump your bag. I legitimately think his stuff is incredible, but I'm curious kind of just your thought process behind, going after those pieces. It seems like they mean a lot to you beyond just an investment vehicle.
Yeah, that's why I did it. I mean, found Top Shot, started going down the rabbit hole. Very fortunate to connect with all you guys, and I've had a lot of people just helping me out and accelerating the learning curve, and got really into punks and a variety of other things. And Super Rare has been on my radar for a while because of the fund that I'm in that's run by Nick Tomino, who I think is one of the sharpest guys in the space. And, I started looking around in Super Rare and just like, it's fun scrolling through, checking the bot, seeing what's selling. And I was immediately drawn to this guy's work. Like, I was like, wow, this is so sick. Like, I thought it was the best stuff on the site. And, some of them are selling for like 3 Ethereum, 5 Ethereum, 8 Ethereum, whatever. And I was like, that's a lot to fire like on something I don't really understand. I don't know much about art, period. And like, I want to buy what I like, but like investing 5 figures in a digital art piece, like very early in this journey, felt kind of outrageous. And then like a week later, all of his stuff had like 3-4x'd. And, I started just following more and actually was tweeting a little bit about it, sending to my friends. And he just reached out to me, and he was a super cool dude. I mean, he's been really active in the community, and he definitely tries to engage with like the collectors and the people that are purchasing his stuff. But our biggest connection was actually our daughters. And I bought that piece right after Gracie was born, and it's childhood memories, which I'm a sucker for nostalgia, love like all the Disney stuff and like thinking about like fantasy lands. I watched Peter Pan and Robin Hood, or Peter Pan and Hook so often. It's like a little kid. I broke the VHSs. So like, it all tied together. And I mean, I got into a little bit of a bidding war, which was expensive, but yeah, it really means something to me. And Ashley's not the happiest about it, but I love it. And it's cool. Like the other cool part that's been fun is like some of the other collectors of his work, like we've connected and like there's a camaraderie, and he's certainly cognizant of like stuff being rare. And yeah, I've seen some of his other work. Like he worked in the past on like cars, and he's done stuff with shoes, and he has like a legit background working more in like kind of the mainstream world. And digital art gave him the opportunity to like bet on himself. And it's so cool to see all his success. And he's literally doing it for his daughter. Like that's genuine. It's sincere to me. So like that connection with the artist, which is just like the coolest thing to be about NFTs, like not just artists, but like musicians, we're going to see with athletes. That is a huge part of why this is going to be a massive success long-term. And yeah, it's expensive. I mean, who knows? I'm holding that thing for forever, essentially. So I don't care what happens related to the prices, but I think it's really cool. And yeah, Jeremy's bought a couple of his pieces. A lot of my friends have really gotten interested in this stuff. And even some like VCs and just different people I've talked to are like big investors, love his stuff. Like Cuban was messaging me about his stuff. So it clearly catches other people's eye, and it's fun to see his career take off.
From when I've looked at a lot of the art out there, and there's a lot of good stuff, but a lot of it you'll be like, this person just wanted to make this an NFT. Like when I look at his stuff, and I'll pull it up here at risk of, crashing my internet. I look at his stuff and I'm like, this is digital art. Like, I mean, it is what NFTs are meant for. I just love the blending of the kind of the futuristic with the, ethereal elements. He's so good at it. It's really cool stuff.
Yeah, he is really good. That's a piece that Jeremy bought right there. And what's so cool to me, and Jeremy like had his eye on this piece forever. Like I've hung around Jeremy, we're drinking beer, partying, having fun. Like I see Jeremy sitting like that. Like Jeremy does that pose, which is so cool. And yeah, this guy, like I've seen his art from like 10 years ago, and like what he's done, it's the same vibe. Like he did not just do this to like, he's not doing this just to, I mean, obviously he's incentivized to make money, and I think he's really excited that he's now providing for his daughter, and he has an ability to do this like on his own, do what he wants to do instead of like working for the man. But it's truly who he is, and he has a passion for it. And there's a lot of artists out there doing things for the right reason, and there's some super cool stuff out there. And I think I'm getting more and more bullish on VR and AR and just how the world's going to be, and some of this stuff's going to be
that's sick.
This one stopped me in my tracks when I saw it.
That one is sick.
I thought that was so cool.
You see Chris's comment? I tweeted that out. So when the Beeple sold, I thought that could be potentially like something in the future of like almost knockoffs, but just having ownership. Is that silly, or do you think we head in that direction some sort? Because like we're talking about right now, a lot of this stuff is out of the common man's price range, me included for this. I mean, I was early in Top Shot. That's why my stuff is worth more than I'm worth. But like, do you see $50, $100, sub 1,000? Even in Top Shot for a while, you couldn't get a LeBron under 1,000, and they've kind of opened that up. But what do you guys see with that being the path?
Yeah, I'll comment one more time, and I definitely want to get other people's perspective. But I think we're going to see, what I'm excited about is I think we're going to see more NFTs come that are absolutely accessible for the everyday person. And that's going to be the change that's going to be really good. We need stuff that's legitimately affordable for the average person. I want to see cool art that's a couple $100. And I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see more mainstream stuff instead of just people coming in trying to make a huge sale for a bunch of money. And yeah, that's what's really irked me on Twitter. Like, I've gotten, like, after I bought that, I had all these people follow me on Super Rare, and artists coming like, hey, dude, buy this for 10 Ethereum, buy this for 10. It's like, it's not how this stuff works. Like, and I've bought like 3 or 4 pieces total. Like, but I'd love to hear everyone else's perspective. And specifically, too, I want to make sure we circle back just like where we are on prices. Like, and I think there's, all of us are obviously bullish, especially on like Top Shot, Punks, some of the projects we all have high conviction in, but like, what are your guys' thoughts on prices, short-term, medium-term, long-term?
Yeah, so I think the specific question of more like accessible things in general, I think that's like naturally going to come. But but generally that I don't think that's like how new. I don't want to say asset classes, but like new consumer things that you buy. That's not like how it really works. Like when cell phones came out, it wasn't that everyone got a cell phone and they were super cheap and accessible. It was like, oh my God, this person has a cell phone? That's crazy. Or when computers came out, like that was like not a normal thing. And it was more expensive than people were probably comfortable with. And then it becomes more normal and people become more comfortable with the prices. And then also prices go down over time because it becomes much easier to produce and people are selling in mass as opposed to very small niches. And so, like, you know, if you sell 100,000 pieces of artwork for $10 a piece, you still make a lot of money. And the problem is there aren't like 100,000 people to buy your $10 artworks right now. That's just not super realistic.
Yeah.
Unless you're on Top Shot. That's the only place you're selling 10 things for.
Well, that's what
for
Justin just pointed out, which is like NFTs being on ETH, you can't even do cheap, right? Like because the fees cut into it. And then you see on Top Shot, like now that we're at 35K mints, it is more accessible, but now people are upset because now, like, I guess some players feel less scarce. So it's always going to be an interesting game of kind of back and forth.
Yeah, and I think like it comes with the nature of a space that's growing extremely rapidly and is still in its infancy. Is you're going to have a period of time, and this was the same thing on Top Shot with moments that were 3,000 mint back in September. I didn't want to buy 3,000 mint moments unless they were $1 because I was like, why? You know, there's 200 people on this website.
There were too many lamellos for me.
Yeah.
People were furious about the edition size. People were going nuts. They're like, it's over 3,000.
Right.
Yeah, people were so mad when the edition sizes kept going after 3,000. They were like, it has to stop soon. It has to stop. And so like that's just kind of the nature of these things. Is it's growing too quickly, and there's just too much going on, and so you're gonna like these artists and companies like Top Shot, they want to make conservative estimates so they can sell out and so that there can still be demand and everything isn't $1. But when you do that, if you know, when you look back 3 weeks later, all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, I could have made a lot more money. I could have sold a lot more. And so it's I think it's going to take a long time and there's going to be a lot of growing pains that come with that. But the fact of the matter is right now is if you have really high quality art that comes out and you're selling it for $10 a piece, it's going to sell it instantly. If you're selling not like an absolutely absurd number of them. And so then it just can't be accessible. And so then you have to just make it like totally flood the market. And then no one's interested because no one thinks they can make money on it. Or, you know, some people who really love it will buy it. But then like all these markets are still somewhat contingent on people who think they can make money on it long term. And so they're going to lose interest because they think it'll take too long to get there. And so it's a very hard market dynamics right now. And I don't think it's in any way bad. It just will take longer for there to be things that are consistently priced in a range that are very accessible for people who only want to spend $50.
Yeah, I mean, I think I essentially agree with Andy, but on the art side of things, I do think a lot of artists have been trying to experiment with different distribution models. So obviously there's traditional auctions. People have done Dutch auctions. The new thing on Nifty Gateways, they've been doing what are called drawings, which basically they have, let's call it 10 editions available of a certain piece of art, but they know 10,000 people might want it. So that what they'll do is they'll say, okay, this piece costs $5,000. And basically what you can do is you can buy a ticket for this drawing. If your ticket gets chosen, you get the right to buy the piece of art for $5,000. If it doesn't, you get your money back. But what that turns into is everyone knows this piece of art is worth more than $5,000. So it's almost like the Top Shot packs. It's like they're very positive EV. So you get a bunch of people who aren't really collectors, who don't like the art necessarily, who go in and flip it right away into the secondary market for 5 to 10x right away. And then you have, which is an interesting solution, the open editions. And so the open editions, the way they work is they set a price and they set a time limit. And however many sell in that time limit, normally it's 5 or 10 minutes, that is how many are minted. And so theoretically, that can reach sort of an equilibrium where everyone has an opportunity to get it at hopefully kind of a reasonable entry point. But where you lose is there might be, 5 to, I think the max is 10,000 right now in Nifty Gateway. There might be 5 to 10,000 of them being minted. And so there's a lot of supply. And actually, there was an NFT made for Street Fighter recently, where they basically, the way they did it for their Series 1 was they had a 24-hour period where people could order as many packs as they wanted to, and then it stopped. And that was the total number of packs that were minted that 24-hour period. And it's a lower entry point, but you could have endless supply. And so that's sort of an interesting solution. It's not unlike the pre-order pack that Top Shot did. And so there are people who are working on different ways to keep things accessible and keep art within a decent range. And actually, the last thing I'll say is one artist actually the other day came out with 10 one-of-one pieces, 10 unique pieces that he was selling for 0.01 Ethereum each. And now they're selling in the secondary market for like between 25 and 30 Ethereum each. And so then it just becomes a mad scramble and who can put the most gas on it and whose computer is the fastest and whose servers are co-located. And so everyone's experimenting. There are a lot of people conscious of this issue of trying to keep things accessible, but there's no obvious answer. And I do think the open edition kind of seems like the best answer right now.
Yeah, that was an interesting, what you were talking about, what was it, like Satoshi, whatever?
Yeah.
That's a really interesting problem too, of what happens when you do make things too cheap, and it just becomes a race of who's fastest to get it because everyone knows that it's too cheap. And so that's like an issue right now that the Euler Beats project is having. Oh, I wouldn't say issue that they're having, but so they released their initial Genesis 27 tracks, and it was very cheap to get the first one, which those are all worth a lot of money now, like hundreds of Ethereum. LP1 is probably worth over $1 million, and I think you were able to get it for like 0.1 Ethereum. And so now for the second version that they're doing a auction instead, and people are mad because they're saying, oh, now only whales are going to get it, and like these are like really highly valuable things that I would love to have a chance to get, but I can't get it because I don't have 500 Ethereum to buy one at auction for. It's a really, really hard problem of when you have things that are just highly desirable, how do you make it possibly fair? And I don't think it's solvable. Like the sneakers app never solved it with shoes. I still can't get the shoes that I want when they drop, and people are going to bot things when you do that. I think Top Shot's doing a really good job with the way they do lines and stuff, and I think there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do with fan engagement and NFTs and like linking long-standing Ethereum profiles of people who are interacting with your stuff to try to get a fair distribution to people who don't have to have 6 figures of capital ready to buy your NFT. But it's a really, really hard question for stuff that's super valuable.
I saw someone.
What are your thoughts on the open editions? I guess on that in particular, because I think that's a reasonable answer. For people who want the art, obviously, it won't be as scarce.
I saw Alan wrote in the chat about Top's project. It was a cardboard project where you could buy as many as you want, and the first 8 or 10 of them, only like 100, whatever, something ridiculous, like 2,000 were bought. So they were extremely scarce and they pumped to thousands of dollars. And then by the 14th or 18th, the project had gotten so hype that it was like a 50,000 open edition, and they were literally worthless. I got caught up in the hype and the FOMO and that. Someone in the card industry was like, get in on this. This is easy flip. And by the time I got my cards, they had gone from like 20 to 600 back down to like worthless, essentially. So yeah, the open edition stuff it can feel very hype driven, FOMO driven. And it's right. Like if you're just following someone who's like, oh, you gotta buy this, or, like these are worth this because it's more scarce. I don't know.
Yeah. The open editions are awesome for collectors. It can be scary for people who are just following other people's like trading advice and like doing that, which I don't recommend in general. But you could definitely get burned pretty badly. But I think it's a good solution for things that don't have to be one of one or don't want to be one of one.
I just think it's bad for flippers, but everyone else kind of wins. The artist does well because lots and lots of people get the pieces. Everyone who wants the piece gets it. It's good for collectors. They get a piece of the action. It's not good for people who are purely in it for the financial side.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that there's also like that only works for a particular subset of NFTs.
I agree.
So that's the thing is anything that's not a one of one. I think the open editions make a lot of sense. It's probably like the best way to have price discovery and still has potential for upside because they're only available for a certain amount of time. I have several open editions in my Nifty Gateway collection of just artwork that I liked but it doesn't solve the issue of what do you do for an Euler Beats LP, Genesis LP that's going to pay you 100 Ethereum annually for just holding it.
Agreed.
Can we
Yeah, I mean,
talk
so-
about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I know, and I'm curious to hear from Jennings, because I would assume maybe you've talked to Mark about this. I know he's super high on it, plus Preston's in on it. And I did some digging into it because I thought, like, this is the type of NFT project I'm really interested in, is like get the artist paid, cut the middleman, actually have utility. And I think if you're not a Genesis owner, then I think it's literally a Ponzi scheme. Like, I don't see any benefit in it. I know there's Beanie Maxi, something like that. He's like really good at, I guess, giving back to the community. But that to me makes it feel even more like a Ponzi scheme. It's like every time someone dumps money in, he just redistributes a portion of it, but he's still pocketing. So I actually, I mean, I really wanted to be a part of it because I thought from the outside looking in that Mark's kind of stamp of approval, but I really didn't like the project. Did you have any thoughts on that one specifically?
Yeah, so I've dug in and initially bought a couple and one not a Genesis, just a Prince. At this point, it's one of the projects that I've lost on relative or whatever. I've lost Ethereum on at current prices. I do think it's really interesting. I think pricing things on a bonding curve makes a lot of sense. It certainly has Ponzi elements to it. I mean, essentially, yeah, the early adopters are rewarded and someone's going to get caught holding the bag, but it's very transparent about it. I think that needs to be, I mean, it's if you dig in and start researching, you'll figure it out, but that should be more well known. I do think there's something really interesting with music that's interesting. Yeah, I saw Beanie promoting it and yeah, I think I'm noticing more and more some of these, like, you know, guys who are really working hard on their following, promoting things. I mean, Beanie just talked about flipping a MBSJQ piece. And I'm not sure. I'm trying to look into his accounts, actually. There's like multiple accounts tied to it. But I'm noticing a lot of these like OGs are really just flippers who are pumping their bags a lot. So I'm becoming a little bit more skeptical about some of these people who are quote unquote giving back. We'll see. I definitely not. I mean, I've seen Beanie do some things that that are helpful, but I'm certainly seeing a lot more pumping and flipping, which is always something that people are skeptical of. So yeah, and you know, Mark has certainly really been avid about the space and doing a lot of things. I think he's genuinely excited and eager to learn more. Obviously, he's in a much different financial situation where he can just fire off at things, and he's an excitable guy like I am. So you know, Mark has definitely endorsed some things in the past that I'm sure he wished he could go back and not endorse, but he's also endorsed a lot of stuff that's innovative and new that's turned out to be huge. So yeah, I think it's interesting. Preston is a great guy. I know Preston really well personally, and just seeing him do work in the gambling space and just everywhere else. He's a stand-up person. I really like him, and you know, I always want to be aligned with Preston. He's someone that's made a lot of sharp decisions in the past. So
well, that's part of it. Like basically Bale's tweet, right? Which is I kind of felt was pretty accurate, which is like sometimes you do have to trust people that you're or was that your tweet? Someone's tweet. It was Bale's. Someone's smart. Yeah, and I think, you know, you see Preston, you see Mark Cuban, and you see this is the new audio NFT project, and I think it's important to understand what you're getting into, at least on a general level. And you can't just trust, but also I do feel that way, which is like I would probably follow Andy and Mike and you guys into a lot of things just based off your recommendation. But
couldn't help but notice you didn't mention my name, Jack.
I said, and you guys, you guys. But the Knicks have cut the lead to 4. So
this bit's going to stick around for a while. Over that. I think this is going to be like, I think this bit's going to stick.
I actually just remembered, I think I have something on Wednesday that's just going to completely just keep this momentum going, but I'll save that.
Oh God. Real quick, I just want to address chat. I know some of you are really enjoying this. Some of you want exclusively Top Shot content. I'll just tell you right now, we're going to just talk about whatever interests you, I promise, or whatever interests us. I promise you we're going to get to some Top Shot tonight. I believe we have some packs to open, but so much. so much has been going on in the larger NFT space. And I think this stuff is all interesting. And you can actually apply a lot of the things we're talking about back to Top Shot too. So just bear with us. And if you want to drop off because you want only Top Shot content, I promise you there are 1 million Top Shot podcasts now.
Yeah, there are.
So bear with us if you want. But
it's all related to your
Yeah.
comment, Pete. Like, all this stuff is applicable, and what's happening in the broad space is going to be absolutely massive for Top Shot. I mean, it's a top of the funnel project that's going to bring in more and more people, but the impacts that it's having around the space are absolutely going to, if you're a bag holder on Top Shot, this stuff is very relevant to you. So don't, I mean, it's easy just to see things in a vacuum, but think about the big picture.
I also think it's really important too. I think there's probably a lot of people who have come to Top Shot. I mean, it probably is a dumb word. There are a lot of people who came to Top Shot not from the NFT space, and maybe aren't as interested in that, and they just start saying like, maybe you're from the physical card space or you're just a basketball fan, and you bought this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, like, if you're taking Top Shot seriously and you are trying to do this to either like build a huge collection or flip moments and make money and all that stuff, like knowing about the rest of the NFT space is crucially important, because as much as Top Shot can be correlated to physical trading cards, it also can be very correlated to the NFT space at large. And like just choosing to think all that stuff is just like not super interesting or relevant to Top Shot is a mistake. We got a baby side.
This is her one moment to say hi. She wants to party, so we might have to do some packs. Hey. She wants to say hi. So we got Gracie. Gracie's ready to get rolling in the club.
I don't know if Alan's still in the chat. I saw there was some site maintenance. So do we know status page maybe on openings of packs? I actually smashed pretty much every drop over All-Star Weekend. So I have a bunch of packs. I have pre-order, I've got Rising Stars, and I've got Seeing Stars.
I've got two also. I've been waiting very patiently.
Same. Yeah, it's crazy that we kill our EV just for the club. That's what we do for the people.
For the people.
No, Mike does it for life. He's not flipping these.
That's true. He is locked in. He is locked in for life.
I didn't hear you were in robot mode. What'd you say?
Oh God, I'm in robot mode again. God damn it.
You were for a second.
Yeah, you're right now. But yeah, bringing it back to Top Shot, what we were talking about before, I think the distribution model thing in Top Shot is really fascinating. Actually, I mean, the Dapper team has tried lots of different models. One of the more interesting ones was the Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals packs, where they released more packs than they expected the community at the time to buy, and then they said they would burn the rest of them, as I think most viewers know. That's the only time they've done that, but now they've tried the pre-order version, they've tried the queue system, they've tried the free-for-all system, they've tried pushing prices, and they're clearly experimenting with different methods. But, I mean, there's no obvious solution, otherwise we would hopefully be arriving there. But, I mean, I think where we're going to end up from a Top Shot standpoint is that the common or base side of the Top Shot world is going to be very, very deep and flooded, and there will be lots and lots and lots of moments. And so I think it's important for everyone who's collecting CC moments to anticipate they could get to very, very high numbers. Dapper wants there to be accessible moments. They want you to be able to come in and buy a moment for $5-10 just to get involved and try it out. They want packs to be able to be $9, which means that the expected value can't be $400 like it has been historically. And so common moments going forward may be a difficult place to do really, really, really well financially. But look, we've thought that before. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out and where Dapper lands in terms of their distribution model. And especially with Platinum Ice and Genesis down the road, how are those going to work? What's the release schedule going to be?
Yeah, Roham confirmed that hardcourt's a huge movement for them. I know our early days club Top Shotters remember like that whole debate. Jennings, do you have any different feelings, or still pretty much the same on? I guess there'll be a lot of accessible moments for that, and it'll kind of create an interesting market that's like, there's going to be investors, collectors, people who are playing a video game. It's not just going to be like a singular market, really.
Yeah, of course, and that's what it should be. I mean, they have to make this accessible for the fan who wants to come in and spend $9 or $10 or $20, and there has to be moments that are really widely available, and then there's going to be more rare moments. And from a strat perspective, I mean, I still have more and more conviction every day that these Series 1 more rare moments are the place to be. And especially this is, Roham's goal is this is a 100-year plus project. Like, imagine a decade from now, if this truly has taken off, there's tons of moments, there's millions of people on the platform, tens of millions of people on the platform, maybe more. But Series 1 is where you want to be. So we're still super early. I do think prices in the short term are, we've seen them flatline for a bit. And I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how the market shakes out. I do think some of the high-end moments have a lot of potential. But yeah, you want to be savvy right now. And, I think a lot of people, when we were first doing these, it was so exciting because you could just 10x over a week or something like that. Like, that was never sustainable. And you're going to have to be savvier now.
Pete, what inning would you say we're in for Top Shot?
First inning for Top Shot, maybe fifth or sixth inning in terms of not long-term prices, but short-term prices, I guess.
I would love to transition to basketball references instead of old person baseball references for this, by the way. I'd say, we're in the second quarter, maybe a second TV timeout, something like that.
Okay. College basketball has easy time marks with every 4 minutes they take a timeout. But it's funny. I kind of want to tackle into Jennings there, which is I could see, the $1,000 MGLEs of random players dropping off, even maybe not zeroing out, but really dropping off. But I think the good stuff might just we're limited because of the 250K cap, and but that stuff is truly scarce and it is truly Series 1. So I think the best players in the world still have a chance to continue to rise for sure.
Oh, that's why I'm bullish on. I couldn't agree more. That's where I'm aligned. And maybe if these assets were fractionalized, that might open up some other opportunities for people to get involved.
I actually feel pretty strongly that would be potentially pretty damaging to the market. I don't really see people wanting to own, Ish Smith when they could own even X%, at least from an investment standpoint, right? You can't really tell me that anyone's going to be invested in anything outside of the studs and then the rookies with high upside. Any mid-tier player whose career's kind of capped out, why would I own them for, $600 when I could own a piece of LeBron? That's just how I kind of
So this might make people feel bad, but why would you own them anyways? I guess that'd be my question.
Yeah.
Do they own them in the physical card market? In the cardboard market, does Ish Smith sell for anything? Or is it
no? Well, he's literally worthless. And I'm talking about even Kawhi Leonard, he's not worthless, but his worth is very limited. So that's why a lot of the physical card market, they couldn't, me included, I couldn't understand. Now, I do see the counter, which is owning a Series 1 set, or the utility of all these things, or something crazy where if you own every active player on the Nuggets, you get a ticket to a game, right? There's a million possibilities with these things. Yeah, love Ish Smith. That's my guy that I always rag on for being worthless, but I would love to talk to Ish Smith. But so I do see that there could be some floor there that retains that value, whereas physical cards, there's literally no reason to own.
Let me play devil's advocate. Because I actually, for the most part, agree with you. But let me give you what would be my other side of that, which would be the physical card market is probably one of the least efficient markets in the history of mankind. It is unbelievably inefficient. And so any player who is not the top tier card is worth your time, it is worth mailing it somewhere and getting it back, and the grading process and the chance of a refund on eBay and all this, you have to be making serious money for it to be worth your time.
Right.
And so the case would be that we actually can't draw from the card market here because we are now in a hyper efficient market, which is on 24/7 and does not require grading, doesn't require storage or anything. And so what we're seeing now is what an actual stock market of players should look like, where you have some utility in how they can perform for you in a video game or something like that. But at the end of the day, Ish Smith is worthless in cards because you would lose money to sell an Ish Smith card right now if you had to get it graded and everything.
Yeah, no,
But
agree.
But for
with
a
that.
Top Shot moment, you don't have to. You can just, he's a fine player. He's a replacement level NBA player, and that carries some amount of weight in his value. I think that would be the counter argument.
Is it the accurate weight is the question. Like, I'll give you another example, right? So like maybe Ish Smith trade for $3.18 in the future, and like you could make 5% or 10%, right? If he goes on a 10-game stretch. I guess it's like JaMychal Green MGLE Series 1 for $600, right? Like that player is never going to go anywhere. So is it a situation where people just want to own a Series 1 MGLE, similar to like a CryptoPunk, where they just want to own a punk and they know they can't afford, and that's what all Series 1 MGLEs will be like, which is like, it's just like owning that, the player doesn't matter. Or is the player going to matter so much because it's the NBA and these guys all have their own personalities and stuff like that? I think that's what, but like Series 3 MGLE, I don't know.
I don't know if you can untangle that element, because so much of how people interact with sports is the rankings and the list and who's the best and who's the, all this stuff in my internet issue here again. But with crypto, it's not like there's existing narratives, the traits or whatever that are going to be pushing people to valuing them differently.
Yeah, that's how I feel, which is like, it's tough to imagine a world where JaMychal Green and Ish Smith are worth that much. And we've seen them drop off, but they've also retained a lot of their value. The biggest thing I noticed in Dallas, which I may actually kind of shift my Top Shot strategy even more, and we were just talking about, is like the most liquid players are the players that people want. So I think sometimes we overthink, like, like I was buying Drew Lock. No one wanted Drew Lock, at the show, unless they really blow up. Which cat is that, Andy?
That was the Wall Street Journal star, Lola.
Wow.
I was trying to bring her in for a little 15 minutes of fame, but she wasn't interested.
She had her fame.
Yeah, she prefers photos. She's not a video kind of girl.
So in terms of my personal strategy, I went kind of very high end and a lot of LeBron from the beginning because I did have this similar line of thinking. Who wants the seventh guy in the rotation for the Pistons? Who wants JaMychal Green? Who wants Ish Smith? But I think there are two things. I think S1 or Series 1 does carry a sort of premium and allure that it's just kind of from the first set, which is historical. And I think at this point in Top Shot's life, even though it seems like 35,000 is a high circulation number, there are a lot of users right now. And across this many users, there are a lot of Pistons fans, a lot of Wizards fans, and a lot of them just kind of want to get into Top Shot and collect 5 to 10 moments. And if that's you filter by Pistons and you go get, whatever, a Spee, go get a Spee Mahaluk, or he just got traded, didn't he?
Yeah, he's on the Thunder now, baby.
Yeah, he's with your boys. So whatever, you get a Spee just because you want a Pistons player. It's got the little Pistons logo on it, and that's enough to float the market up to a certain level. But where I think this comes into play in a big way is Series 4, Series 5, Series 6, when there are enough of these moments in circulation that if you're a Pistons fan, you go get whatever player you want, and you can get them for $3. You don't need to pay $14 for a Spee. You don't need to pay $19 for a JaMychal Green, whatever it is. And I don't know how that works out going forward. And so, the way I tried to protect against that personally was to get kind of high end stuff that I felt like would be desirable in the future or now or any time. And I don't know how to think about it. I do know that Roham and Allen have said kind of throughout they are going to try and incentivize sets and incentivize ownership of every kind of player. So whether that's in the form of the game or bonuses for having sets or bonuses for having every player on the Pistons or whatever it is, I think they understand this dynamic. I think that it's an issue in the physical card market that you open a pack of 10 cards and 9 of them you might as well use for firewood. And I think that these guys are smart and they have a lot of options because of the technology we have available and the platform they've built. And so I do think they will find a way to make them matter longer term.
Sorry, guys. I've been having internet issues, so if you see me cut out and stuff, that's why. So I apologize, or StreamYard or whatever it is. I'm trying to figure it out.
What a life for Overzet. I mean, he goes on vacation and his internet just breaks. I mean,
Do we think he's still in South Carolina and this is just like a faux background?
Yeah, it's been a Zoom background this whole time.
yeah, the Zoom background. That's so funny.
So I guess let's so one thing that I guess I'm not like super educated on this has in the recent pullback of moment prices. I've been too busy to like keep up with everything super accurately. Has it affected Series 1 versus Series 2 differently, and has it affected like LeBron James and Steph Curry and Danilo Gallinari differently comparatively? Do we know any numbers on that? Does anyone in the chat know more than we do? I saw Add More Funds was in here. I feel like they probably have some chart that they can show us.
So I don't have specific numbers, but I do know that my account is actually an interesting barometer because I am like 95% high-end stuff and Series 1 stuff. And so as other accounts catch up on me, that means Series 2 is doing better or base moments are doing better. I do have some Series 1 base moments. And as I'm catching up, so like Alexo and I have a bit of a different mix of our collections. He has, I think, 15,000 moments. I have 2,000 moments, and we're roughly equivalent in terms of account value. At times, he's 15% above me. At times, I'm above him by 5%. And that's kind of a reasonable barometer of where the market is. If it's legendaries and Series 1 doing well, I might catch up or pull ahead. If it's kind of everything else doing okay, he might pull ahead. So for a while, he was probably literally 15 or 20% above where I was, and now we're about neck and neck. So I think that's reflective of Series 2 kind of pulling back. And my account itself is down probably 15 to 20%. So I think that's probably reflective of how Series 1 is doing in general, probably down 15 to 25% from all-time highs. Yeah. And Series 2 is probably down 30 to 35%.
That's been the vibe that I've gotten, but I have no actual numbers to back that up.
Yeah, and the stars are obviously going to hold better than some of the lesser players, but I really am a fan of adding a bid system so we know true pricing. I really think, like Andy, you were just talking about, the most efficient market. And I mean, we all love Top Shot, but I think by not allowing the bid system, it almost is propping prices up higher, right? Like everyone's account value is estimated on lowest ask when it's not a true indication. I was talking to someone on the phone, or I was doing a video, and they were like, if you were to liquidate everything today, you know, how much do you actually think you could get? And I don't think we know that number. And I think it's way lower than the lowest ask, which is pretty good. So I think for that reason, I mean, I came from physical cards, Star Stock. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that site, but yeah, you make a bid, and that was the true value of your account because you knew what someone was willing to pay at that time. Also raising, you know, the cap $250K, because I do believe there's moments way over $250,000, maybe one that I hold. I don't know if I've talked about it before, but I really like the best offer bid system. I think that would be great and would just make the market more efficient.
Yeah. So some bull cases, we definitely are preaching a lot of caution right now, which I think is reasonable. You know, maybe we're at halftime of prices and the game hasn't really started, or we're in the layup lines for kind of just the space as a whole. You know, the Dapper raise, the NBA players getting involved. Utility is a polarizing topic, but to me, I mean, I know, Jack, you're bullish on the game. I was bullish on the game for a stretch. Now I see pros and cons, not really sure where I land, but where I'm really excited is about the utility that can be added to the NBA experience, going to games, League Pass, tying Top Shot moments, and just kind of the ecosystem to the NBA experiences. Like you brought up, Jack, like, do you want every player on the team? Boom, you're in a VIP section at the game. Like, I love sitting, I mean, hashtag how rich comment, but like become spoiled with Nuggets games. Like, I really don't go unless I'm sitting, you know, I sit normally like row 2, row 3, but the courtside experience is amazing because the Nuggets have this Club Lexus experience, which is free beer, free all you can eat amazing buffet, all this stuff. Obviously it's priced into the ticket, but the experience is insane. And like being on the court is freaking awesome. And you know, if you could somehow get access to that via Top Shot or something, like I think there's a million directions they can go. I think the players are going to get more and more involved. So we're very early stages. What are your guys' favorite utility concepts for Top Shot?
One thing real quick that I was talking about today that I think super important with that is what I love about it is it's not you buy and then your money's gone. Like you can pay for that stuff, enjoy that, and then you can sell it, right? Even if it's at a loss or whatever it is, but it's not a zero-sum game. And I think that's really important. My favorite in the short term that I would love to see them turn on outside of the game is going to a game and collecting a moment from that game, just having like a digital passport. I think that's somewhat easy of a thing. And I just think with everyone kind of, people save their tickets and they say, oh, I was there, post on their Instagram story. Just a great way to utilize a token like that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Had the infrastructure in place, which I think they're going to, especially with this raise and like how much they're going to invest in this. That to me is a slam dunk. I've got the same concept. It's like, because I even mentioned it before, like I think the future for sure of NFTs, like people love to say like, oh, here's all the concerts I've been to, here's all the shirts I have from every single thing. Like that's something that we should have digitally. Like that's so obvious. Same with sporting events. Like, hey, I was at these games. Like, boom, here's the digital confirmation that I was at all these games. And with NBA and Top Shot, it's so easy. Like, boom, I was at this game. The only people who get this moment were people at this game. And of course, there's going to be a lot of those because there's games every night and whatever. But like, it'd be so dope to have that. Like my favorite Nuggets game I've been to is when LeBron was still on the Cavs. And I'm telling you, he was like at the peak of his powers. He even mentioned like after the game, he had an interview and he's like, yeah, I haven't felt better before. Just totally dominated the game. And we were kind of in like the near the corner. And he hit this ridiculous step back fade away where he like fell out of bounds almost to essentially win the game for the Cavs. And it was like the sickest moment. I brought a buddy who's like the biggest Jordan over LeBron guy. And even after the game, he's like, wow, LeBron really showed me something. And that clearly would have been the moment from the game. And like, I'll never forget that the rest of my life. And
not even NFT.
Like, it's so cool.
Not even digitizing the ticket though, which is like what's special about the moment.
Yeah.
Right. And then you now like everyone saves their tickets from the Super Bowl, but outside of a picture, you don't really have a way to capture it. So I think,
I totally agree.
There's so many fun things you could do too. What if you were at a Nuggets game and they say, okay, anyone who has a Facundo Campazzo moment gets a free shirt. You go up to the merch, you scan a thing, they have it, time stamped or whatever, making sure that you had it before the game. I mean, and now all of a sudden I'm incentivized to collect every Denver Nuggets player that I can, because next time I go, I want to make sure I don't miss one of those. Like there's so much fun stuff they can do with that.
They do all the half court shots. They do some free throws, 3-pointers. Maybe I could get out there and do that. I mean,
get Jen out there.
Oh my God.
They have all those things. Imagine if Top Shot was intertwined with that stuff. I mean, it's so sick.
Well, it's like I was at the butt fumble game for the Patriots Jets game however many years back, and like what I wouldn't give to have an NFT moment of that butt fumble would be like even outside of the like monetary value of it, it's such a good way to have like that as a keepsake. Or I was at the Patriots game where they went 16-0 against the Giants in the Meadowlands, and I mean like I don't want to talk about the rest of that season, but like that would be a very special like thing to have. And I still have the ticket from that game, but it'd be way cooler to have, like the Randy Moss, like I think he had like a 50 or 60 yard touchdown catch in that game. Like that'd be way cooler.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting thing is we sort of have a case study of these game specific NFTs, which is the collectibles that you can get for going to a specific game. So a friend of mine and I go to different baseball stadiums each season and get bobbleheads. And so we know because we have the bobblehead that we were at that specific game, and there were 15,000 people who were at that game or who bought it from someone who's at that game who now have a bobblehead. And the NFTs are a rough equivalent of that. But another kind of use case or utility, it's not pure utility, but is the NBA or Top Shot partnering with Marvel, with Nike, and to have packs before like a movie comes out, and like if it's one of the Avengers movies or one of the superhero movies, have cards that have some sort of inspiration or some sort of art on the side that are tied into the movie, things like that. Or something like, I don't know if they can do this because of the loot box issue, but something where if in rare packs they have some moments that you can pull that are redeemable for a certain pair of sneakers or for a certain hat or something where there's only 200 of them or 500 of them, and it's suddenly a very exclusive thing. And Ferocious, the artist, just did a sneaker drop where you go get his NFT and you get a physical pair of sneakers with it. And so the idea
who has that? Does anyone own any of those sneakers?
I still have some time to buy a pair. I might have to.
Yeah, Andy's gonna get one.
I almost bought a pair of the legendary shoes like 4 times in the last day.
Yeah, but I mean, but pairing that kind of NFT with physical item, if Top Shot can do that, you rip open a pack and you get this card with a little Nike logo in the corner, and suddenly not only do you get to keep the NFT itself, but you can actually redeem that or trade that in the secondary market, and someone else can redeem that for some custom pair of shoes or a pair of shoes that has some sort of NBA tie to it. And so just the possibilities here are endless. And this is the number one bull case that I have for Top Shot, which is the NBA wants this to work and sort of needs this to work. I mean, we've had a season and a half now of COVID and probably 2 seasons of COVID where there are fewer fans in the arena. Sports as a whole are now competing with Netflix and every other form of entertainment. And this is a brand new revenue stream for the NBA, and the possibilities are absolutely endless. And they have a lot of smart minds there. They're a marketing machine. And that alignment alone is a very encouraging thing for me.
Yeah, totally. And I think so we've been talking a lot about the different bull cases outside of just the NFT moments themselves, but even just going back to that, if you told me nothing else was coming, I'm still very, very bullish on Top Shot as a platform, just with the moments themselves. And I think it's easy to make the case for that as well. We've had a bit of a slowdown with punks until there were 3 alien punk sales over the course of 24 hours. But outside of that, I feel like things in the NFT space have been kind of trying to figure out what's going on next and what's happening next. And I think Top Shot itself has had some a non-trivial amount of site issues. But I don't think that we've seen the end of just the amount of people who want to come into this space and be a part of it. And I still have a lot of friends who are reaching out to me for the first time about wanting to get involved and thinking it's interesting and seeing stuff. I certainly get way more texts from people saying, what is this? How do I do it? Than saying oh my God, I bought this and I lost $50. What the hell?
All right. NFT lesson. I literally almost bought that legendary shoe for 6.8 Ethereum. I had it queued up. Almost did it 3 different times, and I was like, screw it. We were just talking about it. I got to buy it. It's sold, and now the cheapest is 9.4. So
what's the lesson you're trying to teach here?
Always ape.
Yeah, always ape.
Pull the trigger. I mean, definitely be cautious, but we know, I mean, Michael, I don't know what you want to talk about specifically, but Ferocious is clearly, he's done a lot of really amazing work, and we've seen a ton of bids, and I'm a huge sneakerhead, which I know Andy is too. And I spend an ungodly amount of money on sneakers collecting. And I know you can talk about that. There's pros and cons to that, but I genuinely love sneakers. And I almost bought this right off the bat. And then I was AFK when it released and it all sold out. And then basically came back to original list price and I didn't pull the trigger. And now I feel like a total freaking moron. Just so stupid. So I don't know if there's a lesson in there, but
I think there is. I think, and this is something that I've had to come to grips with, and I think it was the major driving force behind me buying the LeBron number 1. Is I had chances to buy things where I thought, oh, I don't know how I feel about it, and then it sold, and I said, okay, I probably should have bought it, whatever. And I've had other times where I've been I really want this. I really want this, and I'm going to be upset if I don't get it. And then those sell because I'm still oh, I don't know, is it the right decision? And even now in retrospect, I'm I really wanted that. I should have just pulled the trigger and done it. And I do think there's something to be said for, if you have strong conviction where you feel I really want to buy this thing and it is within your means and you can afford to do it, the space moves too fast to be wishy-washy on things that you really want. Right. And so as long as you have serious conviction and you can afford to do it and you want to do it, it really behooves you to move quickly and to do it if you can.
Andy, one thing I wanted to harken back on and give you some credit for, the LeBron #1 that you have. You were talking about that for, I don't know, a few weeks about making a move on that. And for a while, it was sitting there roughly alongside the one that Jack ended up buying at about $45,000 to $50,000. The #1 and the #23 were both there. And then Jack made his purchase, and the price for the one that you ended up with shot up to about $72,000. And it somewhat mirrors the situation that Jennings is in now, where it's kind of like, I really wanted that at 6.8. What do I do at 9.4? And you went ahead and got it. And I think you said at the time, you're like, even if this is too much, I still feel good about it. I really like owning this. It's something that I'm going to keep in my collection. It's an exciting moment. It's kind of a marquee moment for me. And you felt good about it, even though it was $25,000 more than you could have gotten it a week earlier. That's not what you focus on. You focus on the parts that you did like, and you felt it was worth that to you rather than you could have gotten it for a better price earlier. And I thought that was a good perspective.
Yeah, I listened to Jeremy's podcast with Non-Fun Gerbils the other day. Anyone who didn't listen to that or doesn't listen to the Non-Fun Gerbils podcast, I'd recommend it. It was a really, really good podcast. And he said something in that, and I think, I consider him a very sharp guy. I very much so appreciate his input on anything. And he was talking about there was a Nifty Gateway, Mamba Forever open edition that he bought one of for $1,000, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I really like this, and I could see if people would want to buy it." And then a few days later, the floor was $18,000, and he said, "Oh, I was right," and he bought another one. And I think there's a really, really hard mental gap to jump from I have a thesis, I think this thing is going to perform well, I should buy this, and then, oh, I was right, look, it went up. Now it's too late. It's too late for me to buy it. I missed my chance. And when you learning the instances and where it's still right to just keep betting on winners and bet on things that you feel confident about is a very hard mental gap to get past. And I still mess up with that all the time, where I'm looking at some random cryptocurrency or DeFi project or something, and I'm following it for a couple weeks, and all of a sudden the price is up 4x, and I'm like, oh, it's too late. And then I look back 2 weeks later, and the price is up 4x again, and I was like, oh, it wasn't too late. And that was how I felt with that LeBron, where it was 50 and then it was 70, and I was like, it doesn't matter. I want it no matter what. It's a very hard thing to get over.
You anchor to the price regardless, and that there's pros and cons to that, right? That's an interesting part about a lot of these Top Shot moments is there's more liquidity on certain moments that there's more sales on, and there's more sales on those moments. So it's a weird kind of feedback loop where certain moments are selling more often, continue to sell more, and have maybe they increase in price more. We saw that during these big bull runs because people get anchored to a price, and then they feel like, oh, I'm getting a good or bad deal because I've seen the price. And that happens a ton too with all these other things. You get anchored to a certain price, and you perceive that asset relative to that anchored price, regardless of what its true value is. And obviously, a lot of these are in collectibles. It's all relative to what else someone else is willing to pay. So there's merit in that kind of thinking. But I think people do it too often, and I certainly am guilty of it. I really anchor in on some things, and now I'm anchoring on those shoes. It's 6.8 Ethereum. I could have done that yesterday, and I almost did. And now it's oh, I'm not willing to do it now because it's not the same. I don't know. It's a weird mental exercise, but it's a real challenge too. You don't want to just blast off all the time. So
yeah, it's a hard line to walk between not being anchored to a particular price and just buying the top of all these different assets. And it's impossible to know.
Capacity, right?
Yeah.
I think my internet might be fucked again.
I do like this question from Jonas about the current challenges. Is anyone doing any of the current challenges? Do we have any?
I did my first challenge in a very long time, actually. The Seeing Stars. I think the last challenge I had done were run it backs. Everyone knows I'm awful with the Cool Cats challenge. I think we all were, except Andy kind of hit it for a little bit. But I did the Seeing Stars. The real part of the Seeing Stars I want to do is the LeBron half. I don't have enough Dapper right now to actually do that. But I think, to me, it's very intriguing to do a challenge where you're getting the two best players in basketball right now versus, no offense to our guy Terry Rozier, but it's just like you see the LaMelo, you see Luka, but even like Anthony Davis isn't warranting the same. I'm curious, Mike Conley, they're cool, they're very cool, but I thought like going for KD and LeBron was important. Also, the guys it takes to get them are all stars. So I thought, a pretty nice floor potentially with that, but I mistimed it. I mean, all my scene stars are probably down 20% when I bought in. But yeah, I did that challenge because I like KD and I like LeBron if I can get him too.
Yeah, I am currently not doing any of the challenges, but it's a little bit twofold. One, I have not gotten a pack in about 7 years. And so I haven't really had anything to kind of push me down that road. And also all the challenges are completing in like 2 more weeks. And so I just feel no rush to do anything. I'd rather kind of just like wait and see what the market does. But I am pretty interested in the Anthony Edwards challenge. One, because the dunk is just absolutely violent. It's so sick. And then 2, I think that there is some interesting storyline to go with the Rising Stars packs in general, in that it's the first time ever that there was an NBA announcement done through Top Shot, and to me that's very cool. I like that a lot. That's an interesting narrative to me. And I really want the chance to buy as much Michael Mulder stock as I can. I've been trying to just get deep into my guy Mike Mulder, and so that I just got to get as many of those as possible.
So I think challenges in general, I'm going to try to hit the Jonas Street question. I think it's more of a macro question. We've touched on some of the specific things, but kind of how do we view challenges overall? So one of the most appealing parts about challenges, and we've talked throughout the evening about accessibility here, is if you want a good serial moment, especially if you like the reward, there's not a great way to do it for a reasonable price aside from completing the challenge. And in all likelihood, you won't get it, but it gives you a shot at getting it. And everyone enjoys a lottery ticket experience. And so part of the appeal of challenges is the opportunity to get a number 1, a jersey, a top 100, a top 10, a top 50, top 1,000, whatever it is that excites you. And so I do think that's a big part of the appeal. But in terms of the kind of the math behind the profitability of it, I think that some people get this, but I don't know if everyone understands this, because after challenges, people always seem shocked when the underlying moment's price goes down, which to me, I find shocking that they find that shocking. So basically the way the math should work is if there are 9 underlying moments for a challenge, before the challenge, those 9 underlying moments should equal, let's call it $1,000. After the challenge, the reward plus those 9 underlying moments should equal $1,000. If that's not the case, there's an inefficiency one way or the other, and you can take advantage of that. And technically, actually, the reward at the floor price plus the underlying moments should actually be a bit below. Everything okay over there? Welcome back. And anyway, anything, the 9 underlying moments plus the reward should probably be below $1,000 because the reward itself had the opportunity of being a number 1 or a jersey. There was that embedded upside that isn't the case if you just have the floor reward. But everyone's disappointed if they buy up a challenge, do the challenge, and the reward plus the underlying moments is only slightly above the underlying moments before then. And I think that's the math you should be keeping in mind. So it's not necessarily profitable on that basis. It should basically be break even. You buy the underlying moments, you get a reward and the underlying moments at a lower price in the future. So are they that profitable now? I don't know. And part of the challenge is that as people onboard onto the site, they see, oh, one of the exciting things you can do on Top Shot is you can participate in challenges. So there's a lot of excitement for people to participate in a challenge, to get airdropped a reward, and they may end up just kind of selling to try and play other parts of Top Shot. And so there's new user excitement about Top Shot. and about challenges in general. And so that could bloat the underlying moment prices to above where they should be if you think about where they might trade after the challenge is completed. So there's a lot of things to think about, but look, they're fun. You get a shot at a good serial number, and it's a big part of the Top Shot experience. Is it definitely going to be profitable every time? Probably not. There's no strategy that's profitable every time. Otherwise, everyone would do that, and then it would no longer be profitable.
So I'll give my insight on this, which is I think the challenges become really intriguing when utility becomes even more so. Like in video games, all FIFA Ultimate Team are challenges. And once you add utility and it's not just an EV thing and it's like, oh, I want to play with that player or I want to do this with that player or whatever. I mean, we talked about a million utility options. That's where challenges are going to get really complex. Right now, you can kind of estimate and guess, and it is just a math thing, right? It's like, is it worth it or is it not? Whereas I think the one thing we haven't necessarily priced into moments in general is entertainment value, which is like I spend $40 going to the movies or I spend $80, going to the park and doing a picnic. Like some people are just going to end up investing in these things because it's going to drive entertainment and interaction with friends. It's what sports betting was supposed to do, but sports betting became very kind of just win-loss or go for the big hit. Whereas I think this is really interesting. How much does entertainment value kick into the floor value of a lot of these things?
Yeah, and actually, you mentioned the Anthony Davis challenge before, and before I get into this, I've been browsing Twitter in the background because I am fully addicted to Twitter now after being fundamentally against social media for the first 30 years of my life. The Club Top Shot, the man behind the Club Top Shot Twitter is a gentleman named Clay, and I just want to say he's doing a fantastic job. I'm cracking up here and trying to mute myself in time with his various posts in there. They're great. It seems like Mr. Internet over there is trying to bring one up, but there's some good ones.
He's pulling up his DSL line to
pedal faster over that.
I just feel bad because he's so tilted more than anything.
Yeah,
and he can't even say anything back to us.
He looks so angry.
We get to talk our shit, and he can't say anything.
I'm very angry.
This is a moment in time. Think about how smoothly everything runs and how good of a job he does as a host. And there's a lot of moving pieces, and it's easy just as a viewer. And obviously, we're part of this. He does a great job, and then the internet goes down. I mean, maybe we'll get you in the Wall Street Journal. Then you can pump your bags. Then you can upgrade your internet.
I'm just shocked I haven't seen like a comment from the chat saying that the stream's in beta. I mean, that would have been fitting.
I think my favorite thing was I saw a comment earlier when I said it's a 24/7 marketplace, and someone said it's more like an 18/5 marketplace. Right?
That reminded me earlier when Jack was talking about the physical card stuff of maybe the Top Shot has the market down because they're actually planning on a big convention where everyone can go and trade their Top Shot, in person. Can you imagine a Top Shot trade convention?
I mean, it's going to happen.
Hilarious.
So the National is what the big sports card conference is or trade show. It's in Chicago at the end of July. A lot of speculation that Top Shot's going to have a nice presence there, which I would make the trip. But I'm excited for Club Top Shot in Vegas when that finally happens.
I'm so ready to black out in Vegas talking about NBA Top Shot. You guys have no idea.
We're gonna blast off, guys. I don't know when it's gonna happen. We're gonna blast off.
We are gonna blast. Can we open some packs? I got baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's try this.
Change.
Jack, I might have you do the screen shares because my stuff right now it's doing fine, but I don't trust it.
Well, all I need you to do is promote me to the screen, right?
Jack, even you using the language promote you. I mean, your brain is so messed up, dude. Yes, I will share your screen.
I just wasn't sure if you had the service for that.
All right, so wait, Jack, you got all 3 packs from last weekend or whatever it was?
Well, pre-order, obviously, Seeing Stars and Rising Stars.
That's
disgusting. I was on the influencer package for that.
Yeah,
one.
I thought I was, but honestly, the influencer package so far for me has been not getting packs.
All right, I think we can do this. And
hang on, we got it. I mean, I apologize for my issues tonight.
Yeah.
But
you're crushing now, bro. Not to jinx it.
Yeah.
You're doing well.
Dude,
Look great.
it feels like I'm on like a little tricycle with like my training wheels. You're doing great, Peter.
You want to see how sad my challenge is? Look at this.
Oh God, yeah. The old 1,000 to 100,000 in a bear market is a little tough. But hey, we're about to open some packs. I have a breath of life in my internet. Let's do it. Yo, 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 what up? It's DJ Pete over Zat. Welcome to the club. We didn't think things were going to get popping tonight, but it's about to get lit. Behind door number 2, it's a 3-pointer. 13-25, Kevin Durant. We're going to get a LaMelo. We're going to get a Luka. We're going to get a LeBron. Quick to reveal. Let's go. God damn it. I don't need another layup. To the window. To the wall. The De'Aaron Fox stripped down my ball. 293 assists. Let's go. 293. Everybody get their drinks. Let's get a cheers tonight before we open up these 9 packs. Cheers, 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 fellas. It has been way too long. All of the people fiending for Top Shot action. We're gonna rip some packs here. Jack, are these? No, you're still sitting on other packs, but these you're willing to open all 3 of these tonight?
Yeah, I think that's the goal. I mean,
What are you still sitting on over there, Jack? Show off. What are you still sitting on?
I see 3 boxes below there.
we're waiting on you to get Marky in the club. I mean, I got some base set stuff, but the deck the hoops.
Okay, hey, I got some news.
He went on a live stream, which was, I mean,
I think there's a 80% chance we get Cuban in Club Top Shot in the next month.
I would bet on that.
I will say that makes me extremely excited, but also he's been doing the rounds on podcasts, and I've kind of been like, Pete, I mean, we got to make this happen.
I agree. I think I'm kind of over Cuban at this point.
Cuban and LeBron. Jack's just out on Cuban and LeBron.
Jack is like killing all of our future guest equity with these random off the cuff thing. You're slumming it from a New York apartment on the ground right now. Just zip it, buddy.
That's the life. I see. How many people would trade a Rising Stars pack for the position I'm in right now?
What are we looking at? Is that a 2-bedroom, 4th floor walk up?
3-bedroom, 3rd floor with an elevator.
Oh, elevator. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you have a basketball court that doubles as a sauna in your building, though?
Yeah, how many trap doors?
All right, I got to get you back to the screen share here. All right, let's rip it. I haven't even heard. Like, is the music good for either of these packs?
No clue. Haven't ripped.
We've been very patient, waiting for the club.
We'll start with the pre-order. Are we good on sound?
Let's see. Oh yeah, we are good. Ooh.
Giannis?
Oh,
I'll take that. Give me
Dude,
that.
is this out of 35,000? They need to keep it at 3,000, man. They can't be doing these series out of 35,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting a little ridiculous.
Uh-oh, double? Oh.
Zante.
Oh, the big ragu, my guy.
You got to do the full thing.
So what is it? You got the big ragu, the Michael Jordan of Delaware, Villanova great, 2018 national champion, Dante DiVincenzo.
You say that intro like you guys have played a game of beer pong together at
Oh
Villanova.
my God.
No way, $3.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, God, do it
Michael
again.
Jordan of Delaware, the big ragu, 2018 Villanova national champion.
Oh man, Andy, you say that like a guy you played a game of beer pong with back at Villanova.
What am I chasing in Seeing Stars and Rising Stars?
Rising Stars, you want RJ Barrett.
What about LaMelo?
He's just saying that because we love RJ.
He's just pumping his RJ Barrett back.
And RJ's been playing out of his mind.
Unbelievable.
Right now. Incredible.
Yeah,
he bricked
I'm a
today.
fan.
I mean, he turned in a decent performance. He started off poorly, but I wouldn't say it's out of his mind. I'd say it's in line with expectation and his new normal.
I would love for it to be his new normal. I'm holding two
All right,
hollows.
so not surprisingly, the LaMelo ball is trading for about 3x every other Rising Stars moment.
But you still want RJ.
What's it at?
For the brand.
4,700.
Wow.
And then the next highest is James Wiseman at 1,700.
And Seeing Stars is
Seeing stars.
Let me check.
Luca.
I think it's Luca then Zion.
I know Steph was up there as well.
I'm loading
Luca,
it.
Steph, Zion, Giannis, and then it drops off to Harden, AD, Embiid, Kyrie, a bunch of other guys.
All right, let's go seeing stars.
Zion being more expensive than Giannis and Harden in his non-rookie season is.
It's nonsense.
Oh.
Ooh,
It's exotic.
international player. Look at Pete raising the roof in Colorado. So which one is the seeing star of these three? Do we know? Can you hover? Oh, it's
They're
not
all common.
Ooh.
Oh, slow-mo.
Slow-mo, yeah. This is Zach Lowe's favorite player.
This is my internet connection. Slow-mo, let's go. Kristaps. This
I'll
one's
be
for
listing
Mark
that
Cuban.
for a
All
dollar.
right, that is a
careful,
Luka. That is a Luka
I have
play.
a signed Kristaps jersey in my closet.
All right, here we go. Seeing stars.
Listen to this
Man.
music.
This music is insane.
Woo, look at that stereo. The
Julius.
Randall, poor Jack.
I wanted RJ. Julius is cool too, but I wanted RJ.
Nice cereal, Jack.
Little smile at the end. Smile, an underrated attribute.
It is a good moment.
Pete, are you now looking into various traits of Top Shot moments?
Yeah, I'm starting to
very
scout
rare.
out some rare, moments in Top Shot. Smile is a good one.
Dude, that music was great. I'm now expecting like future editions. We're gonna get something with like a didgeridoo in here. I mean, it's gonna be some good music experiences. I think coming
What
down.
if somehow there's like an NFT of the music on Top Shot? Like if like a DJ like.
They're 100% going to collaborate with Jay-Z and release a Jay-Z.
How about a
soundtrack.
Diplo? I wonder if they
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
contact with him.
Jack, just
I
say
would-
nice things about Jay-Z, okay? Nice things about Jay-Z.
Jack, I'm out on Jay-Z, man.
I mean, he does own the Brooklyn Nets, which is a poorest franchise. But whatever.
Jack has now alienated three of the most powerful people in the
I'm
world.
trying to decentralize.
Nice
celebrities.
alien reference
I'm
there.
trying
though.
to decentralize celebrities with you.
I'm trying to take you off the blockchain, Jack. That's what I'm trying to do.
Right. I'm
let's
praying
go.
for good music. Oh, that's tough.
DJ.
Oh,
Look at that percussion.
I'm waiting for the drop.
Ooh.
All right.
Little Tropicana vibe.
You need like a Mai Tai with it.
music's amazing.
I mean, we're sitting poolside right now at the Cosmopolitan. One Top
Talking about
Shot
our
party.
Top Shot moments. The girls are having to beat him away with a stick.
This is incredible.
Yo, we got Jack. We're out here at the pool. Omnia Pool Club, Rising Star, Jack Settlement. 34-10. Mike Conley.
Dude, Mike Conley is having like arguably the best season of like any player, essentially. Is he still leading the PER ranking?
I'm not sure.
Jack Levine.
That is a guy who I sold way too early on. I was just like, oh, he's not a good player. Future sick.
There he is.
Nathan Plumlee.
Wow. Oh, damn. Nice cereal.
Ooh. Nikola Vukovic.
Wait, you get another Seeing Star?
Yeah. The rich get richer. The influencers get more. Double Plumlee. Do it, Jack. Do it one time. One time. Miami Heat. Tyler. Hero. He loves him. No, press it.
Nice. Yeah.
I would say you could do worse, but I'm actually not sure if you could.
Scalabrini calling those the gender reveal jerseys was fantastic. It's all I can think about when I see them.
You can. I think Theo Maladon probably does worse. At least with Precious, I got a rookie. I like that
I think
over
he's a good
a
player.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah,
He
they
has
like
upside.
him a lot. Yeah.
Are you still-
It seems like Jokic is leading the league in PER right now.
I mean, there's no
Oh,
doubt.
Okay.
That makes
Settle down, everyone.
What has his MVP odds improved at all lately?
Let me pull up Bovada.
What is it, Pete?
Oh, the MVP odds have really taken a nice turn.
Was this coordinated by you guys? What is it? This doesn't feel organic.
And honest. Oh wow, you are right. Holy cow, Pete.
And B got hurt.
LeBron at plus 170 and Jokic at plus 200.
Jokic is leading in some books.
It's a good time to own 1/10 of a Nikola Jokic Cosmic. I'll tell you that much.
Here's what I want to know. How is Giannis not in the conversations? He's having like an all-time
It's
season.
just because he's won 2 in a row.
That's
Everyone's
ridiculous.
stupid. Everyone's stupid.
Are we beyond that?
There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time.
I think it's because he's been getting overshadowed by the big ragu night in and night out.
Yeah, I mean, when you're splitting all the fame with the Michael Jordan of Delaware, like, what are you gonna do?
There's
What do
only
you do?
2 times Andy's eyes just really light up. It's when we're talking about Mooncats or Dante DiVincenzo. All right. Who else is ripping?
I have the
Mike?
pre-order pack.
Dying to rip my pre-order and my Seeing Stars.
Yeah, let
All
Mike go because since he can't buy or sell anything, it's illegal for him to do any other actions. Let him live a little bit.
I can buy.
I know,
Can
I'm
you
just
check
Buying
in?
does not trigger a tax.
Is the family okay with you ripping these without them watching, Mike?
He's got his brother-in-law in the chat. He's ready to go.
Is he
who-
back
He just
in?
has to
Let's see.
record 2/3 of the screen and share it with them later.
Let's see if he's back in.
what's his name? See in the
Josh.
chat?
Josh.
Shout out Josh. When he says brother-in-law, I hope you're in the family, not just kind of in the family.
You mean part of the Top Shot ownership family? Is that?
Yeah. Wow, awkward family reunion on tap.
Yeah, the 40% who got to invest in
Yeah.
in Mike's Top Shot account.
All right. All right. Let me get this all lined up here. My packs. All right.
Meanwhile, Jack is now fully prone on the ground.
My back hurts so much. I've readjusted like 100 times. I'm about to go full flip around and be laying on my elbows.
Dude, I have
what's your
scoliosis. Like,
plan?
there's no worse hell than sitting on the ground for 3 hours straight.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
Did this work?
Yeah, you're working here. I'm just real quick. I do just have a couple questions for Jack. What's your game? Were you just not going to get furniture, or like what's the deal?
No. My bet. I had to order. We moved in on day 1, so I couldn't ship anything. And then I was out of town, and my bed frame came, and I was gonna try and set it up, and I'm not. I doubt I'll be able to set it up. I set up my. Can you guys see this? I set up my chair. It's a bad angle. Hold on. I gotta show you this. The chair is like this. Like there's no leaning back. It's like I have the best posture in the world. But I don't have a desk, so I'm gonna be on the ground. It's just a nightmare right now. Beanbag. That's a good call, actually.
All right.
All right. Is this working?
One time I'm supposed to be on mute. I'm not on mute. It's classic.
All right. Which one do we want first?
Let's go pre-order first and then Seeing Stars.
Yeah.
All right. I've had 2 very bad packs recently on Club Top Shot. My 2 Series 1 packs were as bad as they could have been. So let's hope for some luck here.
You're not going to get much sympathy in the chat.
Yeah, good luck with that.
They're bad packs.
I see someone calling out the Herman Miller chair in
That's what I had.
in the chat. Yeah.
I'm standing here. Is no one else standing?
I'll stand with you, bro.
I appreciate that.
Standing, I'm on the bike now.
All right, Beverly, a nice number, but he's kind of just a pain in the ass of a player.
But he's definitely, I would say he's top 5 in if you had to have an all-out brawl, you'd want him on your team.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay. Let's get LeBron here. Okay, my pack pulling press is really showing up again. What do we think is the best of these three?
Well, so with Malik Beasley, you have a chance that he goes to prison and never has another moment in the NBA. And so that could really be good for his value. That could be his only moment because of the gun charges against him.
I feel like that was worse than anything I said tonight.
It's an interesting angle.
I like it though. Watch those moments start pumping. That would be amazing.
Scottie Pippen might be buying up Beasley's moments too.
All right, seeing stars. Here we go. I might go for this challenge. We'll see, depending on how this goes. Exotic music incoming.
Of course, overs that's
Tatum. We like Tatum. That's a cool play.
That's a good one. Yeah. He's been playing so well this year, too.
Oh, that's my seeing stars. All right. Thought it was Biombo.
I like Miles Bridges. He's a good player.
Jennings,
He needs to be in a dunk
browse
contest.
anything per your normal request? Any browsing?
Nah, now you have to open the finals pack. I mean,
No way. Only when we get professional athletes on.
that's true.
And if
So-
Settlement won the knockout competition, that would qualify. But unfortunately,
Does anyone know what the ranking comes down to? Like, I find it hard to believe that NBL would be the 14th holder of moments out of all Knicks fans. What's it based off of?
it's like I think it's tied to probably how many packs I haven't bought that much from the marketplace. Like, obviously, it's a lot, but it's not. Like, a lot of my purchases were done off mark before that was frowned upon.
Yeah, a lot of it just has to do with like on-site interactions.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Kylo's a big collector. Vaughn is one of the earlier ones. 91 moments collected. I don't know how to reconcile these two numbers unless he sold a bunch.
Well, so I think a lot of the points you get is just from like buying legendary packs and doing random things like that that don't totally necessarily equate to having a lot of moments or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
And also,
okay.
most legendary packs were sold out by the time you got on the site, right? Same for me. The only legendary pack I've ever had a chance to buy was the finals legendary pack.
Yeah, the first one that I was around for was the finals, then Lace 'em Up, and then Deck the
Oh,
Hoops.
lace them up, yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it though. Yeah, but I missed Hollow from the top and Cosmic.
Yeah, same. I remember at a time when I was like not really caring about my point total, but I was like, oh, when am I ever going to be able to buy 5 legendary packs? That feels like impossible.
Right. So the chat has no sympathy for my shitty polls. No sympathy. All right.
I
Okay.
feel for you.
Thank you.
All right, I do have one
Jennings?
pack to open.
Oh yeah, Andy, share it.
Yeah, I've never actually shared it because I never have packs to open. I don't quite know how to do this.
You're
But,
muted. Jack.
Here, Andy, click share at the bottom.
Okay.
Then
Screen.
just like, yeah, then do the tab thing, Chrome tab,
Okay.
and don't
right.
forget to check the audio button though. We need the audio.
Got it. Okay.
This is actually
Should be good.
I'm training you guys for when I'm not around next time. You can actually do one of these without me.
Yeah.
You don't
guys
want
see
that.
my screen?
We can.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. I think normally I have the sound muted on here. Okay, no, it's not. All right. All right, where are we going first? 1, 2, or 3?
2. Ooh, Jeff Jones.
Ooh. Hassan Whiteside. I forgot he was even on the Kings, to be honest with you.
I agree with that. He used to put up big numbers.
Yeah, he's a great numbers guy.
When I was playing fantasy basketball back in the day, Whiteside was the king.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
King of
he was a big
Fantasy.
Snapchat presence.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like his Snapchat was a great follow back in college.
Jack comes from underneath the covers to fist pump a Snapchat reference.
That's true. Good call, Andy.
Yeah, you know, back in the day when he was on the Heat. All right, one or three.
Good 3. Ooh,
Ooh, I'll go 1. Mike said 2 to start, and it didn't go great for me.
fair enough.
I'll take that.
Bam.
Love Bam. Great player.
Some good. This is like the Heat big men of present and past.
Yeah. Well, who would be the final
Alonzo
one here?
Mourning.
Yeah, it has to be Alonzo
I
Mourning.
hope you guys are winning.
It'd be like Udonis Haslem, right? If
Yeah.
it was actually one that I could get. I'll take it.
Dapper
I'm a little
investor,
surprised he
Aaron
hasn't
Gordon.
been traded yet.
Everyone is telling you that Bam is a part of a challenge.
Oh, the Mike Conley challenge?
Yeah,
I'll take that.
there you go.
I'll do the Mike
All
Conley
right.
challenge. He's earned it.
I got one.
Jack,
I got one
Jack, you
back
keep
here.
laughing.
Andy, I was gonna have you go through your collection a little bit so everyone could.
Oh, you missed it. So close.
Did I miss it, or are we just taking a little break by going to Jennings's for a second?
I'm happy to go through my collection. We can go through some fun stuff.
The
I feel like I have some fun
top
moments.
shot.
Wait, Jack, we kind of over this before. Do you have COVID?
We're TBD. I mean, what they say, I can smell fine. But
So you're telling me just traveling around the United States during a global pandemic it doesn't lower your chances of getting COVID?
Dallas is. I mean, I was literally at a nightclub, and then I was at a bar. Like it was. So I'll say this: it was kind of refreshing. It really was. Like to know that if you do want to live your life, like there are opportunities. And I also took the last year. Like I didn't do anything because I was living with my parents. Whatever.
Wait, you were at a nightclub?
Full blown nightclub.
Tell us how does that compare to Club Top Shot?
I mean, it was spectacular. I'm not even gonna sit here.
It was spectacular, he says.
I mean,
The kid's on his deathbed in his New York apartment on the floor. It's like, but it was worth it. It was spectacular.
Those
feel
tequila
like-
shots were totally worth the COVID.
Oh my god, it was,
Dude, what are you on? Are you on like pain meds right now?
No, just living life.
Seems like
If
you're
anyone
holding
ever
on for dear
questions
life.
the loyalty of Club Top Shot,
Yeah, no, there's no.
There's no question. I mean, Jennings, you phoned in from the delivery room.
and Jack's here with COVID. I mean, we're,
What do they say
other
if-
than older men who just take vacations whenever he wants. We're all work. We're all it.
I mean, this is the dumbest question I've ever asked. Were people wearing masks at this nightclub, Jack?
I don't think no. Like actually, insane. The kids I was with wouldn't even. They forgot to grab their masks to just go get lunch. It's you can live in Dallas. There is no COVID. It's crazy.
You could live in Dallas and then you can die in New York.
That's wild.
And for everyone in the chat, I'm not high. I don't smoke, so it's just how my body is. But yeah,
He says while a phallic mic rests on his abdomen. Goodness. All right, let's open a pack here.
All right, so next year, I'm
know
not
this is
having the option to share audio though. What do I share?
No, this is paramount to the experience.
No kidding. It's
are you
share.
on Chrome tab? Not window.
No,
Poor
not
Jack's on
window.
his deathbed, but he's still willing to troubleshoot Chrome tab issues.
I know
I
this is
share, and then I thought there was some other message that I would get. That I'd be able to get the audio.
No, share audio. The bottom left.
It's a
on the
little- it's a
far
little
right.
checkbox.
There's a
Checkbox
yeah.
thing.
On the far left.
Not
Like
not
the bottom corner, one of the corners.
Oh God.
Ryan Fitzpatrick has signed with the Washington football team, which is something I did not know was going to happen.
You got a new one for
But-
him, or he's played there already? I can't remember.
He
played
has
like-
not
Yeah.
played there. I don't
What's
think.
that? 10 teams he's going to start for now, or 9 teams?
I can't deal with the fucking chat right now. Trying to claim my. They're trying to rescue my LeBron moments.
Yeah, Jack, just DM me your password so when you die of COVID, I'll give your stuff back to your family. I'll make sure they're okay.
Andy, actually, this is a good time to ask you. So I had a conversation with my wife over the weekend. I said, if I die, there's one person you need to reach out to who'll explain all my crypto assets, and it's Andy. So are you comfortable taking on that responsibility?
Yeah, that's a burden I'm willing to bear.
Okay, thank you.
I've had very similar conversations with with my girlfriend where I'm like, yeah, so if I die, like if you go and reach out to certain people who she knows, like I think that they can lead you to a trail to where you could find the seed words for my cryptocurrency and then use my cell phone and use that and my last pass and that can maybe get you into my Top Shot account. Otherwise just DM Roham on Twitter.
I have like step-by-step directions. For this, contact Andy. For this, contact my buddy from home. For this, and it's like, here are my passwords, but we have to print them out, and it's a whole thing. But anyway, thank you, Andy. We have a lot of witnesses here, so I hope you stand by that.
A lot of pressure.
All right. I have gone full hashtag dad life. I've been up since 4 a.m. I'm ready to open this pack. You guys ready?
Yeah, let's
Do it.
All right. The pack opening experience is dope. It really is.
It's so fun.
All right, what are we doing first?
Yo, what up, Dallas? Take off your mask. We're about to open up some bags. We got
Take off your mask.
from Snapchat here. He's licking everyone in the club. He don't care. He's 24 years old. Kid, all he needs is a Snapchat account and a mattress in Manhattan. Jennings on the 1 and 2s.
What number? What number?
2.
2? I heard it 2.
Ooh, Joel Embiid.
I'll take that. Oh, I should have
You didn't even let the moment play out.
Yeah, come on.
Not the
A monster.
MVP, Joel Embiid, but
Trust.
solid. 1 or 3?
Go 3. Andy went 1, and it was like, okay, let's go 3.
I agree.
On the top.
Oh, that's my guy.
Love
That's
that.
my guy.
It's crazy how much of a leap he's taken from year 1 to year 2. Because year 1, he was like one of the worst offensive players in the league. He was so bad.
He's a Virginia guy, right? I feel like Andy, I feel like you'd respect Virginia.
Hunter backs. Oh,
Oh, got a good back.
God, Steph is so sick. That's what I watched.
Yeah.
I mean, Steph is just. All right.
That last fake didn't seem necessary, but
I was thinking the same thing.
yeah.
And Overzet's just frozen. I mean, this is just hilarious.
Jack, so you are or you're not high?
I'm not high. So my symptoms have gone from a runny nose to now I have a little bit of a cough, and then now I have a little bit of a headache. So
How's your taste and smell?
yeah, so I'm holding on to taste and smell, which makes me feel good that I'm just sick, which is still a possibility. I think people forget that you can still get sick. I mean, there was a lot of drinking this weekend. There was not good hygiene. You know, there were a lot of interesting factors. But
Does it burn when you pee? Someone just asked. That's a real symptom that we're.
is it really?
I mean, burning if you have burning,
It's never
when you
good.
pee,
It's never good.
I thought
Not
that
a good
would
sign.
come for a completely different virus.
Yeah. Oh, this chat is hilarious. I mean, I'm seeing stars. That's so funny. Any final comments, boys? I got some diapers to get to, unfortunately.
Did anyone have a chance to listen to any? I feel like Whale Shark had an interview lately that I thought was really good. I don't remember with who. I listened to too many podcasts and stuff.
I think it was with LG on the First Mint. I listened
Yeah,
to
that was really good. I mean, like LG's an awesome interviewer. He does such a good job, like regardless. But that was really interesting to me. I don't have any like super particular thing to talk about. But did anyone else listen to it? Have any thoughts or anything?
I didn't listen to it, but I've been. He's had a lot of Twitter threads recently that I found pretty interesting and insightful and even keeled and a balanced kind of perspective on things. That he's clearly a really bright guy and very forward thinking and very community oriented. I mean, it seems like a lot of what he's doing ultimately has charitable intentions and charitable goals, and he's done well for himself. So good all around. But maybe I'll give that a listen. I haven't yet.
Okay, actually, I have one question. There we go. We can talk about this for a minute and then sign off. But so he was talking about, and this is generally fit with Mike's like investment thesis. He was saying how he like essentially long term just wants to invest in like the super high end because during bear markets they won't go down as much. They'll like generally will retain their value better than the lower end stuff. And I thought that was extremely interesting because during the run up of Top Shot, the most money to be made was in buying $1 moments that are now worth $2,000. And so do you guys think that like he is right in the long term that like your best bet is to be buying these really high value moments, or if you can't afford that, be buying in with your friends on one really high value moment, or to like basically take a bunch of scatter shots at low value moments because we're still too early and you can probably cash those out and like flip them for something in the future, or some middle ground between those two things? I thought that was an interesting point that he was talking about, which like goes against what has increased a lot of people's accounts significantly.
Yeah, I mean, it also comes down to like what your investment strategy and risk tolerance is, right? Like that plays a huge part in it. If you're okay to be risky, obviously scatter, I think, has more upside. My investment thesis, which turned out to be completely wrong, was I only bought like the higher end moments that I could over, if you just bought up 100 of the $1 S1s, I mean, you're rolling. So long term, though, it is pretty interesting now that, you're not going to see a moment ever go from $1 to 2,000 again. So I would guess that.
I would bet on that.
Yeah. You think there will be?
I wouldn't say $1 to 2,000, but
1 to 100. I think we could see 100. Yeah, I think that's
think
possible.
so.
But I don't
think there's such a big discount for CC moments, and we saw this the last time when the 15,000 CCs went LE, they went crazy. I mean, not that, but they went up a lot.
Yeah.
I think that there's still range for people to be a little weird.
No, I agree. I just don't think we'll see the $4 to whatever. But I like the studs and I liked the Series 1, and I think it'll probably stay that way. I think the rookies are like the most fun way to try and make your bets on upside stuff. But I think the days of buying Damian Lillard for $8 and seeing it skyrocket could be gone, or at least capped.
I don't know. It's an interesting cycle because as recently as, a month ago when Series 2 was, or maybe 2 months ago at this point when Series 2 was just getting going, like you could pick up as many Kevin Durants as you wanted for $20, and those are materially higher than that now. It seems like every time we've kind of released a new set of very high, what appears to be at the time very high serial numbers, the market reacts like it is now and just kind of dumps it all. And then anyone who's picking up $4 Steph Curry's historically has done very well with that. And look, maybe we are at halftime now, and so the dynamics have changed a bit. But Andy, in answer to your original question, I think it's just a matter of different risk profiles and different return profiles, where the established stars probably can't do too much more to improve their perception in our eyes. But having said that, they can't do as much to ruin their perception in our eyes. So it's probably a lower variance type game. Whereas the up-and-coming stars, or maybe the forgotten stars, or like someone like Julius Randle coming into this season, you could have gotten his moments pretty cheap, probably, and now he's outperformed. He's become an all-star. Same with Jeremy Grant. Some of the rookies that, this year's crop of rookies seems to be going roughly in line with their draft picks, but sometimes you'll see a rookie who was, 24th pick who, doesn't blossom until his fourth season, the Jermaine O'Neal story, or even someone like Jokic. I don't know, what pick was Jokic? Anyone know that offhand, roughly?
40 something.
Yeah, so he's way down there. And so someone like that, we don't know who that is yet, but there could be a rookie out there this season who is currently priced at, a significant discount to other rookies and other moments, who could see a very, very positive outcome, but he could also flop and end up in the G League or out of the NBA system entirely. And so it's a variance thing. It's a much wider range of outcomes. And so if you want to kind of slow and steady growth, you go for your LeBrons and your Currys and your Giannis's. If you want, some upside and accept some downside, you can go for your cheaper guys with higher upside, and you can probably have a little more fun that way. That you're actually betting on an outcome then, instead of just kind of playing the rising tide game.
All right, guys. I think we need to wrap this up. Pete needs to change diapers. I need to change.
Just gave me the death stare.
Yeah, and I can only imagine. I am going to troubleshoot my fucking Ethernet cable or router or whatever it is. Appreciate you guys coming out. Appreciate you guys letting me go on vacation. Everyone say their goodbyes to Jack. He was a pillar of this community, and we're going to miss him. Mike, Andy, as always, pleasure having you guys in the club. We will see you guys next time.
Jack, it's been real.
Yeah, gone but not forgotten.
Yeah.
Cheers, Jack.
Bye, guys.